Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill.
Never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. It feels right, it feels right. Yeah, I can only say that it feels right. this is just a must. Put me in perspective, I'm the deepest in the cut. Everybody tuning in, but this is just for us now. We know I ain't ballin' yet. Hoes wanna holler, oh no, I don't call them back. Girl, let me see you hold it down, we gon' have a blast. Cause I just wanna know what you gonna do with all of that. Ain't gotta say a word, I know what's up. You can have it all, watch me rip it off. I'll admit it, you got me feeling hella love. Even when it's going down, know that we gon' live it up. Young shot caller, always been a baller. Know that you the one, I can feel it in my heart, yeah. I won't stop charging, we going come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl. I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. It feels right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Season 1 finals of the City League. It's been 4 weeks of action between some of the swankiest and dankest LAN centres in Europe, and now it all comes down to a single best of 3. SP Thessaloniki tore through Group A and their semi-final game, getting them all the way to today's grand final without a single loss on their record. Who else to take them on but the only team to put a dent in them thus far, HuB Valence, who were forced to play with a bit of a shuffled roster during their Group A game against SP, but now have their full team, did blow through their own semi-final, and are looking to take the first place. Now, they say great games deserve great casters, so to compensate for my presence, I brought in the LPL's Matt and Iberia Clendaniel.
Hi, everyone. It's lovely to be here. And TJ, it's lovely to be here with you. Finally, we get to do the duo cast we've been waiting for what feels like years.
I think literally it has been at this point.
I think it might. It's been at least a year, I think.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good to be here.
When we first started saying we need to do a duo cast together, we literally didn't cast the same games.
Right.
So I had to learn League of Legends in order to make that happen. And we're still only partly there. But I made it happen. You made it happen. And now we're here today.
We've gotten enough of the way there that we can work our way through this.
Hopefully. I'm relying on you to compensate for the good looks on the desk and the knowledge. So if you'd like some knowledge and you don't have Matt and Iberia Clendaniel to compensate for you, then you can head on over to the City League website. That's cityleague.gg. There you can review the format that got us to this point. We had a 3-week regular season round robin Then we moved into playoffs, both semifinals played between the number 1 and number 2 seed out of each group. And now we have a grand finals best of 3. That'll be happening today. The winner is the champion of the inaugural City League League of Legends season. And we've seen SP Thessaloniki and HuB Valence play before. That game went down to the wire.
And let's talk about that game a little bit, because what's worth noting, you mentioned it coming into the intro, is that was a game with shuffled rosters. It was with substitutes, and it was still the closest game Thessaloniki has had to play so far, going down to, I believe, 35 minutes. So given that they have their full roster today, we might be able to see HuB Valence not only just take a game, but potentially take the series.
What was most interesting to me about that match was the star bot lane. Cuvée and Croaky, which has been kind of a dominant factor for HuB Valence, was shut down. And they, the rest of the map, they had substitutes. They were shuffling their mid laner to top lane. Wild stuff was happening. I get it. But they lost their key bot lane. So even though I want to agree with you and I want to say that HuB Valence have their core roster and today is going to be a different story, I need to see them make some changes there.
At the very least, they can relieve a lot of pressure in the top lane, because going up against Thessaloniki, the first person you have to be concerned about is going to be Revray, one of the strongest players in City League, arguably the strongest top laner in the league, period. He draws so much pressure. He creates so much. Having your original top laner, having that jungle top synergy to try and relieve pressure off that side of the map is going to work wonders for you no matter what else happens.
But it's the matchup I've been waiting for literally all City League. Revray against Lawan, who has been equally terrifying all season long. And you can't let either of them on high-skill characters, otherwise the game is just literally over.
Well, it's really fun, because when you get two carry top laners together, you have to start thinking about pick ban. You have to think, okay, we really need our top laner to get a counter pick here, but how do we do that when they share a champion pool? And you start bringing it down, you pare down the top lane pool, you pare it down, and suddenly you're going to be like, all right, maybe Gnar? But then there's so many other bans you have to throw out.
Not to get wild, but we have seen multiple Gnars. So while we're hopefully not going to get any of the trademark, actually, you know what? I'd be all right with the trademark City League draft silliness. I'd like to preview what are the focuses for these teams. Primarily, I'd like to see the Thresh come through for Cuvée, because that's been so important, because Cuvée has been a god of support Thresh almost all season long. If they don't get him on a good support carry, I don't see how they win.
And that's really concerning, because when you have any team that has just one carry threat that really dominates on one specific pick, you ban that away. It's just like, well, all right, what do we do now? But they have to know this by this point.
Yeah. Well, there's been two things. So first of all, HuB Valence have been first picking Thresh, which isn't normal, but is very understandable. And then opposing them, the only team that beat that Thresh, SP Thessaloniki, did so by picking Morgana Sivir, which, just saying, gives me chills down to the bones, possibly because I like playing supports that can, stun.
Yeah, sometimes I like to be able to use my abilities in the bottom lane, TJ. But I mean, that is one good way to counter out the Thresh. But then if you're on the side of HuB Valence, you want to pick that Thresh. You're getting to the last ban. You're on red side. Ban away the Morgana, and suddenly, if that hasn't been accounted for, you have that dominant bot lane that you've been looking for. And maybe this time you don't let yourself get shut down.
Yeah. I think it is very much about that bot lane, even though we're putting a lot of emphasis up top. If we don't see success from Cuvée, I don't think we see a change in fortunes for the rest of the team either. I'd like to also draw our attention, though, towards that lane, because if we don't see the top lane go dominantly either way, I'm not sure that they have, over on the HuB Valence side, the power to change what's been going on across the map for them. Because even though, yeah, we're giving them the bye if they had to play with a shuffled roster last time, they did lose quite badly across a lot of the map.
Well, the nice thing about this, though, is you have a jungler, you have a mid laner, both of whom can roam potentially. I've been looking at the champion pool here for Inukona, and compared to Low Anger, the mid laner for Thessaloniki, it's a lot more carry oriented. For Low Anger, you see the Morgana, you see things like the Orianna, the Karma, things that can buff up. And yes, they can be lane dominant, and that's fantastic. But when you just get onto the champion pool of Inukona, you have the Vlad, you have the Cass, you have the Corki, the Yasuo. There's so much that you can just deal damage with. There's so much you can use to shut down that lane and give yourself and your jungler movement across the map, so that if your lane isn't going all that well, if your top lane, if your bot lane, it doesn't matter as much, because suddenly either your jungler or your mid laner now has that freedom to move around the map, now has that freedom to make up for the deficits that you have in the other lanes. And this is something we haven't seen them have the opportunity to do since last time in this matchup. They didn't have their full roster and weren't able to operate at maximum efficiency.
So we did have some issues with the lobby while we were getting into this game, but we have a new lobby and a new start. And we'll be getting everyone now into that second lobby as we are speaking. I think we're just getting our last player in, and we can get into the pick ban that we've been hyping up so much in mere seconds. While we're waiting on that, I'd like to touch on something you mentioned. You were talking a lot about this mid lane matchup, how that was going to affect the overall game. For me, we've kind of brushed over how good Pakaon is down bot. It's been Kuve this, Thresh that. Yeah, sure. But he's playing against the most effective ADC in the City League. And even though he definitely has an advantage over Sphex, who's been playing well, but hasn't been a highlight player for the team, I don't think we can say the same isn't true for Pakaon into Croaky. Croaky has been good, Pakaon has been scary.
And that's the important distinction. And a lot of this is going to come down to the pick ban. I'm a firm believer that with good pick ban, you can make up for a lot. Just give yourself some winning lanes, give yourself a way to dominate the competition early, and then you can make up for it with better macro play in the late game. I mean, for example, we'll just look at MSI. For SKT versus IG, the first time they faced, SKT didn't get to do a whole lot because IG were just like, okay, what if we just go all in for the early game? Jackie Love gets the Draven, 16-minute game, the fastest game in international competition, because you didn't let SKT show their strengths. And that's what I want to see come in here from HuB Valence. Go for the early game, go for the dominance, so that if you're able to pull that off, you don't have to worry as much about these carry threats in the later stages of the game.
Well, we're finally into it. We can talk about it. Draven already banned down as our draft begins for game number 1 of the City League Season 1 Grand Final.
All right. Okay, so that plan's out the window, and it makes sense because Croaky has played it before. You know, and we also saw that at MSI. You know, Jackie Love is drawing Draven bans as well, because a good Draven player is one of the scariest things out there. I like the Karma ban as well. That's a target ban against the entirety of Thessaloniki, because both Low Anger and Sphex can play it, so it's a strong flex pick opportunity for them. But the rest of these bans so far, the Akali and the Vladimir, are just meta picks, late game carries, things that you really don't want to be threatened by.
So it's interesting to me, no Thresh ban as of yet. They could have there will be no Thresh ban, as that Aurelia is removed from La1's pool. So that means that unless this is a Thresh first pick, now the onus is kind of on... Oh, it is! Nicely done. So the reason that Thresh first pick needed to come through was because there was a Morgana ban. Morgana Sivir wasn't going to work as a counter to Kuve's Thresh. But now, Kuve has banned out or been counterpicked on literally his entire pool in competitive play. He's going to have to be forced to transition to something he hasn't yet played in City League as this star support.
And I love this adaptation here in the drafting phase from SP Thessaloniki. This is so smart, because you know they're looking for the Thresh. You know that's what they prioritize. So you bait them into banning out the counter for the Thresh. You pick it yourself. If Sphex is just a fine player of Thresh, this is brilliant, because you clamp down on the champion pool of Kuve.
Yeah, Kuve definitely has lost out here, and this is worrying because the last time these two teams played, HuB Valence played well, maybe even played better than SPT, but lost hard in the draft. And I'm already seeing the beginnings of that again. They go Lux, Lee Sin first cycle, Sejuani to Birdie's Sword, and this will be Riven up top to RevRay, currently playing on the Wahid account.
That is frightening. You do not want to give Riven away to a player who knows how to play it, especially one as dominant as RevRay has been in the City League so far. And I am still stuck looking at this Lux pick and wondering exactly why it's come out. I really don't want to see it go into the support position, so I have to assume it's mid lane, but it's just a blind pick at this point. So clearly I want to say clearly they have a strategy for it, but they haven't played it before, so I'm a little concerned.
I would place money on it being support. Not very much money, but I would place money on it being support. Because Cuvée, we've seen his pool so far be Thresh Morgana. He really likes strong CC engage. Lux definitely has that. And I think in his mind, this works very well into the Thresh that he knows they're facing, the ADC of Pakaon, because it gives them some poke tools to hold them at bay. Sever Lux would be able to outpoke almost anything if they didn't get death sentenced.
This frightens me, though, a little bit, TJ, because if you look at what Lux's weaknesses are, Thresh is really able to capitalize on them.
Yeah.
Lux doesn't have any positioning tools of her own. She's not particularly tanky, so if that death sentence ever lands in the bottom lane, I am absolutely 100% sure Cuvée is going to die.
Well, let's not make any hard predictions yet, because Renewal, it should be noted, is running Smite on this Lux, so we can't even rule out Lux jungle. So let's, take a chill pill as Jace comes
I think
through.
we might be able to, TJ. There's just a chance.
Look, let's play it safe.
Look, I want to see it too. I'm not going to lie.
Pakaon will get his Lucian in the bot lane. That's a little bit terrifying given his previous performance, and that early game presence coupled with the Thresh will make the first few minutes absolutely terrifying as an Orianna joins the Thessaloniki side for mid.
This is a really scary composition coming out from Thessaloniki. So much team fighting potential and strength in the early game from the Lucian, but I would need to see what the answer is.
It's happening! Corki's in mid, support Cuvée on Lux. My God!
I don't want it, TJ.
Continues to deliver.
It really does. Cuvée is putting everything on the line right here. You do not want to see this support Lux do poorly because it's so easy to manipulate. If he ever steps out of line, he will get punished so much. The Lifesteal bot lane, Thresh, Lucian, they do so much damage, especially post level 2, that if Lux is ever caught out, dead. 100%, and Sivir has no opportunity to save him. Once the heal is gone, there is no way to keep that support safe. So they just need to poke, play safe early, and hope to scale out.
Okay, and you're not wrong, but I'm going to be in my man Cuvé's corner. Because literally every time I have doubted Cuvée all season long, he's landed a death sentence. Like literally the instant. I've been like, Cuvée can't do this. Boom. Death sentence. And if he could do anything like that on this Lux, it could be terrifying. What you could be looking at right here is the evolution of the next phase of the support meta.
I like your hard sell on this, TJ. I want to have as much faith as you do. And you're right, though. I mean, if this Lux gets going, it's absolutely terrifying because Lux is very good at snowballing down in the bottom lane. If she chooses to go AP, it's a lot of damage, it's a lot of burst, it's a lot of pick potential. It's getting there.
And
that's the problem.
Late game, I feel like this HuB Valence side just wins because they basically have an extra source of damage. The Thresh will kind of fall off, but the HuB Valence side will be able to just brawl through the team fights. The Lucian will fall off. I don't see a world in which if we go another 35-minute game, HuB Valence loses.
Their problem is going to come in from how the Jace is played and how the Lee Sin is going to be played, because those two are going to fall off in the later stages. If Renewal can get off the kicks he needs to make the picks work for this team, HuB Valence absolutely has a chance in the late game. But you've got to look at the side of SP Thessaloniki and look at what their composition can offer. The Riven is a bit of a wild card. She does well into the early and in late game. She is an absolute monster split push presence and can even do stuff in team fights. We've seen it in the LPL Victory 5 with Jinnu in the top lane have been so successful with that. But you look at their team as a whole, Orianna scales amazingly into the late game. Lucian does fall off a little bit, but he's no slouch. And they have just the team fight potential between the Sejuani ultimate and the Orianna ultimate. That combo can put out so much pressure, so much AoE crowd control, that it's a big concern if HuB Valence ever forces a 5v5 team fight.
Whenever I see Lunger on Orianna, though, I just remember that one time she shockwaved so hard that the other team quit. They sent Reload Prog to the forfeit screen with a 5-man ult combo. So, like, I just have flashbacks to that moment literally every time I see that lock-in, which is a bad sign for Newell and his Lee Sin. But in his corner, Lee Sin is his most played champion this season. He's already played it twice. They won both those games. Surely that's at least a mark in their favor.
Yeah, I need to see this Lee Sin get some early ganks off. He needs to get the Jace rolling, get that early pressure going, and shut down the Riven, because if that Riven is no longer a threat, you can focus on the rest of the map. But there is so much drawing his focus, whether it's the top lane or the bottom lane. It's all going to be on how Renewal is able to path through this early game and figure out a way to get the victory for HuB Valence.
Let's talk about that top lane, because we spent so much of the pregame talking about Revray currently playing on this Wahid account. We'll call him Wahid from here on. He does get the Riven that initially put him on the map. He played it in his first game of City League. Looked terrifying. Hasn't played it since, but we know he's good on the character, and he's playing into La1 on Jace Tom.
So, admittedly, since I am a top laner who hates playing against both of these champions, I don't have a whole lot of experience playing them in this specific matchup, but I will say this. Riven is incredibly strong if she can get her combos off, and Jace will be threatened. He only has one way to get away from her, and that's his E, Thundering Blows in the melee form. If he uses that too early, or if it's on cooldown, suddenly Revray has free reign to harass him. But if he's able to keep a safe distance, he should be able to poke Revray out in the early stages of the game and get an early lead and keep that pressure on him going forward. So that's what I want to see from him. And one of the X factors is going to be the jungle presence from both sides, because this matchup is one that can swing either way, and it can swing in Riven's favor quite easily.
The problem, I think, for that Jace is the fact that Birdie's Sword got their Sejuani. Literally their most played character and one of the most consistent performing champions in City League for Birdie's Sword. He keeps getting the Sejuani and he keeps doing good on it. And it's not always game taking over good. It's not always, oh, I'm 1v5ing. But quite often it's, oh, I'm 1v1ing and winning and doing that quite a lot. And that's enough. Your jungler is consistently getting solo kills. You can't ask for much more.
And that's the thing about the jungle matchup as well. I mean, Lee Sin realistically has threat on Sejuani in the early stages of the game, but Sejuani herself is so strong with the early ganks, so strong in the late game, one of those late game scaling tanks, a hyper tank, if you will, thanks to her passive. And she can be so good. And I want to see Birdie's Sword bring it out.
Well, it is time. We are into the game. We are into the grand final of the City League, League of Legends Season number 1, as we are going to see SP Thessaloniki take on HuB Valence on the Rift.
Level 1 so far, not too threatening. We just have people fighting. No, not even any fighting. They're just taking the 5-point strategy, trying to make sure that no one's going to invade, trying to catch any sneaky vertical jungling attempts coming out here, but it's not going to happen so far.
You know what I literally haven't seen yet in the City League?
What's that, TJ?
An invade.
Minions have spawned.
Like, literally hasn't happened once, which is really heartbreaking for me, as I'm sure you know. But
oh, it's heartbreaking for me. I come from the LPL. I live for invades.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. These games are different from LPL games.
Really? I wasn't sure.
But
luckily,
it's just as wild sometimes, if that's any consolation.
I'll take that. That's the reason I love the LPL. You got the wildness, you got the aggression. But so far, neither of those things are going to be coming out. Both junglers are going to be starting on their red buffs here. So they're just going to be trading off. They're probably not going to go for the vertical jungle at this point. But Wahid, Revray already the level 1, threatening Lawan.
Yeah, LeBron gets out of that fight, but just as you were saying, this Riven dominates the matchup, and Wahid walks away, having won the early poke game.
And that's one of the strengths, well, one of the biggest reasons people complained about Riven on Reddit is the Conqueror now on her is so easy for her to stack because of her Q Broken Wings. She's able to stack it incredibly quickly with weaving in the autos, and if you know how to play Riven, you're going to get it stacked up almost immediately. We saw it took out Lawan about 70% of his health with very little effort.
More like broken... Oh, wait. Nope. That's the ability now.
Nice.
It's
already in the name. That's so perfect. It's like they predicted it.
They knew they were making it powerful. I'm excited for this bot lane. We were hyping it up so much. But so far, it's just been the support Lux playing safe, playing back.
Hasn't really gotten a ton of poke off yet, and that's going to be the goal, but when you just have the level 1, you just have the Lucent Singularity usually, so not going to be able to get the CC, not going to be able to get the picks, and they are getting shoved in here at the level 2 mark, so it means Picon and Specs will have a bit of an advantage here in the early stages of the game at the very least, and once again, RevRay just scrapping it out in the top lane.
Oh, they've got a flank as well. Birdie's sword coming through the top. He'll dive in. Luan's playing it safe though. Back behind the tower, and of course, as the Jace, he'll win that poke game.
Good attempt. I really like to see the early aggression coming in because, like we said, this is a very snowballing matchup if Riven is able to get ahead. So seeing a lot of attention paid there by Birdasaur is great, but now an engage in the bottom lane.
Oh. Yeah, Death Sentence play, it looked good, but Renewal's here for the backup, and he's able to dive into the backline. One kill already. Pakayon to follow, surely, as the flash takes him behind tower. It's the slap dunk from Croaky.
And Renewal, this is what I wanted to see. It's all about the junglers here in the early game, and Renewal definitely got the better end of the ganks here, but now in the top lane, RevRay looking to make up for it.
But he can't, and now as the acceleration gate is down, Lamont can play around it. He'll be able to keep himself safe. That's not really a second escape, but it will give him the mobility necessary to keep his distance from RevRay.
So far, HuB Valence in this early game, I'm really impressed with them, able to get the 2 kills for themselves, and Croaky has been able to pick up the Caulfield's Warhammer, get a little bit of an advantage there over Picon. Means likely it'll be going towards that very mana sustained build with the Essence Reaver and just focus on the wave clear. You don't need to fight, you just poke them out, clear the waves, and keep pressure on the towers.
We have a replay of that bot lane fight, and my god, did Renewal dominate.
Yeah, this was a brilliant gank from him, immediately taking out the support. Then they just chased down Picon. Now, this is really unfortunate because the flash away, Renewal misses the Sonic Wave, forcing Croaky to flash, but still picks up the second kill. An advantage from this, though, that Thessaloniki can take if they want to, is that now they have the opportunity to gank that bottom lane because there are no flashes available.
And they are going to bring Birdasaur down here. They just don't take the risk. They didn't have an opportunity as Sphax's death sentence went wide. Yet to see the Lux make an impact. Even in that fight they did win. There wasn't really any big light bindings, which is a little bit sad, I'm not going to lie.
This is one of the many reasons that I'm not a super big fan of Lux support. Now, don't get me wrong. Playing it, I love, which means I'm just a horrible person. But in solo queue, it's a little bit easier. You know, you don't have to rely on being that savior for your team. You don't have to rely on having as much pressure, and you can trust yourself to scale up. But here, HuB just isn't having the impact we want to see compared to Spec on the Thresh, who one good death sentence can mean the end of Kuve's life.
Birdasaur is still hanging out down bottom. He was actually behind that Thresh we were just talking up. We've been talking about those good death sentences. We've only seen one. Landed on the Kuve. That was it.
Yeah, not a lot coming out here so far, and I want to see a little bit more aggression. It looks like finally Birdasaur is getting into position, but it's not spotted out just yet. Croaky,
face check the bush. There's the light binding, full combo through. They do get the death sentence though. Croaky's caught out. Kuve can do nothing but watch. Renewal's going to go in, trying to save the day, but the flank is flanked. As I Need a Win comes from mid, and Pakayon has 2 kills.
And now Thessaloniki bring it back just as we were getting a little bit concerned with the roam down from the mid laner. They're able to secure 2 kills, getting revenge for the earlier gank. And now in the top lane, RevRay, this might be the kill.
Yeah, it should be. Forcing LeBlanc to flash through, but the tower barely caught glimpse of him. He'll go down anyway. Virtus Sword just picking up his red buff, quite happy and contented because they've now got the lead.
And it's a shame, too, because Luan was doing so well into this lane, not allowing the Riven pressure to get to him. But now off that 1 kill, it starts to get scary. RevRay has 66 CS and a kill. Let's take a look at this 1v1 once again. Gets tagged by the tower. It was such a cool play, too, because he was going to flash over, auto the blast plant, get out. We were going to go, oh my God. But instead, we just went, honey.
Maybe you were going to do that.
Yeah, I was definitely going to. I don't know about you.
I have more dignity. Too much.
Yeah, I have none, so it's fine.
Tower threatens in mid. That could have been a turf flank, but it's a nice defensive play. So, this is kind of worrying to me because it feels like a repeat of what happened the last time these two teams played. We saw individual mechanical moments from HuB Valence, but SPT's team play carried them through the game. And that could be the story of this game as well.
So far it's looking like it, but this 2v2 might change the story a little bit, TJ.
Doesn't look it, Inoki already low. He'll turn though, Renewal gets the kill. Now it's the flag coming through. Virtus Sword just has to bail and does so successfully. 3-3 in the kill feed, and they tie game once more.
Valence picking up another one around the mid lane, and this will allow Inokono to shove out. He no longer has a whole lot of mana, so this is a perfect time. He gets the back, gets to pick up another item, work towards that Trinity Force that he needs so desperately to have threat. But it looks like in the meantime, the Ocean Drake might be the next point of contention in the bottom lane.
Renewal's already working on it, unless I'm mistaken, and there doesn't really seem to be much of an opportunity to contest that Drake. Virtus Sword lingering towards it. He'll hover nearby, but he can't take it. That means that we've seen the first Drake taken, we've seen the top tower threatened, and HuB Valence, despite a floundering moment, are back in the game's control.
And this is a great first Drake for them to be able to take, especially for Inokono in the mid lane. Ocean Drake excels in the early laning phase, pre-14 minutes, because it gives you a lot of regen from trades. It gives you a lot of potential to fight back. You can just sit back a little bit, get more regen, and the opposing laner doesn't really have an opportunity. So not only do HuB Valence deny that from SP Thessaloniki, but they get it for their own laners, and this is going to help them bridge the early game a little bit more. But the problem is their bottom lane is still down by 20 CS almost.
I mean, support Lux.
Yeah, I don't want to blame it entirely on the support Lux. That's the thing. But
No.
You know that normally, TJ, I'd be like, yeah, it's just bad. But it isn't the major problem in this lane. The problem is that Lucian's just really strong, and the plays that HuB Valence have pulled off have not been enough to stop the early game dominance from Thessaloniki. And I mean, Pikayan has just been playing fantastically as well.
Pikayan's an incredible player. I think, like I said at the beginning of this, he's been the most consistent ADC in the entire City League. He just chills down in the bot lane, gets CS, gets kills. Kills are CS to him.
Most people farm minions, he farms champions. And so far he's doing that, but a gank coming into the mid lane, not going to be able to succeed.
Nope, Longer playing it safe and even dodges out the chase there from the Lee Sin. As the Sonic Wave goes wide, Croaky and Cuvée down in the bot lane. Playing a little
top
bit
lane,
more
no, different story, TJ.
Because they want this top lane grab up top. Levant will go down as Virtus Sword sweeps through. Nicely done.
I was going to say this game was starting to slow down, but as the moment I think it, SP Thessaloniki are like, no, wait a minute, we've got something for you. They gank the top lane, and once again, that is a 2-0 Riven right now. RevRay is up in CS, up in kills, up in gold by, I'm sure, a pretty significant margin. And this is so dangerous because Riven is one of the snowballiest of snowbally top laners. And if you ever let her get a lead, she will keep it going through the rest of the game. Look at this once again. The tower aggro goes onto Virtus Sword first. Brilliant juggling from there. And he has so many resistances that it just doesn't matter. Luan has no chance to get out.
That's just clean. just walks through, chains him down. You're frozen, you're not moving. Same might be happening in mid. Loger, the Sonic Wave. This will be a kill as Inokia picks it up. Nicely done. A spot back for HuB Valence from their mid lane and jungle.
Unicona really playing that well. Renewal as well on this Lee Sin. I said he needed to do a lot to impress me this game, and so far he has 2-1-2. He has been the driving force for his team this entire time and keeping them even in gold. 20.2K at the 12-minute mark for both teams now. And Renewal, it's going to be up to him to keep the momentum going so that their team has a chance of stopping this Riven or at least mitigating her effects by getting leads on other parts of the map.
Look at that cheeky control ward they have. I think it's just been spotted. No? Yep, there we go. Thanks, RevRec. Look at that cheeky control ward they've had for a while now. That was just giving HuB Valence vision completely behind the tower.
Oh,
now,
no.
Down bottom, the culling. He doesn't quite get it. Barely. I was so sure that was going to be another solo kill for Kaon.
It was close to one, and this is the danger you have as the Sivir, and this is why I hate to keep harping on it, so I promise this is the last time unless something stupid happens. Support Lux, man. I mean, if your support's not there, that's one thing, and he wasn't, but you don't have safety. If that had happened even when the Lux was there, your only option is to kill. Oh, that kick flash!
Yeah, baby, Renewal all the way through. He's so low, though. Will he get the 1-1? He might get the 2-1. He does! A double kill in the top lane for RevRay.
RevRay has just been an absolute monster. 4-0-0. 2 men are not enough to take down this Riven, and now the bottom lane, the Rift Herald, has been popped down there, and there is so much going the way of SP Thessaloniki. HuB Valence needs to stop their roll.
The snowball has started downhill as the tower falls in bot lane. The double kill comes through up top, and this looks... Oh, I thought the Rift Herald was going to get a second go of it down against that tower, but they clean it up.
So you look at this replay once again, and the cleanest thing about it was after the flash kick, you saw what he do a third Q with the flash, getting himself back to his initial position right on top of Renewal. But now another team
goes
fight.
Down early, though. That was a pretty major pickup. He went in for a fight, didn't realize there were already 3 people in front of him. The fight turns quite easily. Even the attempt to get back in is met with Spex's death sentence. Now this Infernal Drake will be going over to burn his sword as RevRay falls back up top.
RevRay getting poked down a little bit under the tower, and this was the concern we had for this matchup if it were going to go the way of Lawan. But doesn't matter to him. He's got the red buff for regen. He's got almost 2 full items already. Yumo's Ghostblade in his inventory, picking up the Caulfield's Warhammer and the pickaxe, so he's going to get the Death's Dance soon. And at that point, he's got sustain, he's got the damage, he's got the gold. How do you stop this man?
Prayers and faith in God. Doesn't matter which God, but you better find one.
I think I may have for this game, and it's RevRay.
RevRay is your God now? All right. Religions have been started with less evidence. That's all I'm saying.
Perfect. He's got an almost 500 gold bounty. Okay, it bounced back up. 4-0-0 on the Riven, 152 CS at 15 minutes. I mean, the man's basically been playing this Riven perfectly. And while HuB Valence are getting things across the rest of the map, it's not going to be enough if they don't find a way to either shut him down or win the 4v4 incredibly hard while he's split pushing.
And Renewal took a pretty hard loss in that last fight as well. Him getting a shutdown is a pretty worrying sign, I think.
Absolutely. Because now, look at where he is. He was 2-1-2, now he's 2-3-2. He's not been able to find his impact in the most recent fights. Whereas you look at the other side, Sword is so tanky now. We saw him do a basically perfect tower dive, but with the Aftershock and passive, tanked 3 tower shots and lost maybe 100 HP. So the scaling for the Sejuani is coming in already. It's going to be so hard to stop. And once again, he's coming in for the gank top.
Oh my god, the opening, burn his sword with the freeze, Lamont chained up, and RevRay's got another kill.
RevRay now 5-0-0, 162 CS. There's no way to stop this man. And let's take a look back at that last dragon, remember, because it was taken immediately after the fight. It had spawned immediately after SP Thessaloniki had made their advantage play, and it was an Infernal Drake, which is so good for Riven. The ocean is starting to fall off. but the Infernal, the effects of that are just starting to come up. And Thessaloniki, just 17 minutes into it, have an absolutely commanding lead. And HuB Valence are going to have to make some crazy objective plays to take it back.
And we talked about it at the beginning of the game. Birdie's sword hanging out. He's not making the flashiest, spiciest plays, but he sure is making the consistent ones. Showing up, landing the Glacial Prison, getting the kill.
And I think one of the problems here may have been focus from Renewal. I don't want to say that that is necessarily definitely 100% a problem, because he did get a lot done in the bottom lane and did get an advantage for his team. But the problem was, in the meantime, the top lane was kind of getting out of hand because Sword was ganking for RevRay and Renewal wasn't there to stop it. So in that space, RevRay is now 5-0. And what did we get on the bottom side of the map if we're HuB Valence? You have two kills on your AD carry.
Yeah.
Sure. But guess who else has 2 kills? It's going to be Lucian. And now an engage in the mid tower.
Birdie's sword in, this time doesn't land the brutal combo. So they won't get the kill as the death sentence was broken as well. Inokia still doing relatively well for the team. That's more than enough to hold on for now.
They're holding on, but just barely, because at any moment, RevRay is lurking, waiting for the hunt. Top side, look, there he goes. He's going in, TJ.
Oh, Vital Spark through, no HP left. Birdie's sword just has failed. RevRay the save. Lawan's got one with Inokia. A double kill. Back over to HuB Valence as they secure their red buff. Not bad at all. They get those bounties.
So remember that miraculous objective play I was talking about? I guess red buff counts as an objective because that was exactly what HuB Valence need to get back into this game. They've taken down RevRay and Birdie's sword, 2 characters that have been doing so well, have been shut down in this fight at the very least, and now they have some breathing room.
And you know what? Support Lux won them that fight. That final spark was deadly, and it gets them another kill. Here is the light binding, goes underneath the tower. Pikayon has backup. That turret will fall. Lawan's quite low, and Pikayon will have the chase. Inokia gets out, though, with Kuve. Those are the important players.
They get the kill, they get the tower, and yes, they do lose 1, but they force the flash away from Pikayon as well. So that is a great play by HuB Valence, and now, if you're looking for who needs to carry, if you're looking for someone to focus on for HuB Valence, it's going to be Inukona, because he has been farming brilliantly and has 4 kills, 1 assist. He's got 2 items already. He's working on his Infinity Edge. And once he gets that, look for the team to play around him. Look for them to play around him either with the siege potential, team fight potential, anything, because that Corki keeps scaling into the later stages of the gaming. He will keep getting massive, and he is going to be the way that HuB Valence win this game if they're able to make the comeback.
Support Lux just got him 2 kills and the turnaround. Just saying. Like binding.
TJ, I said I didn't want to talk about it
both,
again, but you're making a really good point.
Both of those team fights went their way because of his utility.
I mean, not even just the utility. I mean, the damage from the final spark alone in the first fight was massive.
Here's some poke around this upcoming Drake. It is up, but neither team dares go for it just yet. That death sentence goes slightly wide, but is entirely too close for my liking.
Just going to clear out the vision around this fight. I don't think HuB Valence can take this one unless they're able to draw away RevRay. Doesn't have the teleport just yet, but he's going to have it very soon. They took the fight when there was no teleport in just a 4v4. HuB Valence have a chance, but they know that he's close, so they're not going to contest it. And instead, SP Thessaloniki are going to take up their second dragon of the game.
SPT with that second Drake now bring the gold solidly to their side. This is still their game to lose, but I think there are multiple things that look good. One of those is Renewal continuing to look good, look solid. One of those is Inokia, as you said, becoming the carry. And the 50-50, the coin toss, is whether or not Kuve's support Lux scales in the late game.
So far, the item build is looking a little bit less scaly in terms of damage and looking a little bit more supportive. Believe that's going to be turning into perhaps a Shirelia's. I'm not 100% up to date on what the Spooky Ghost build is anymore, and I refuse to call it its proper name. So we're going to find out what that develops into. And he's gone for the Moby boots as well.
How many health potions does one Lux need?
Apparently the answer is 3, TJ.
Oh, all right. I'm glad you had that answer for me, because I was wondering, you know, at the 21-minute mark, how many health potions should I have on my support Lux?
I'm going to say you should have 1 potion on hand per 7 minutes. And therefore, if you're past the 42-minute mark, you no longer should be playing Lux because you can't buy enough potions to have the right amount.
Don't play Lux is the call. Official LPL commentator. I hear you. You know it's going to happen in LPL at some point.
Oh, yeah.
This is just preparation for the next wild season.
When it happens, I'll be like, hey, I've seen this before in City League.
Now, when I was casting a major European tournament, and I saw this strategy. For now,
It also
vision
did
clear
not go
around
great.
Baron. I like Birdie's sword here because they just can't respond to him. He's just full Sejuani at this point. What do you do about it?
Yeah, because, I mean, this is when Sejuani gets to be Sejuani. Oh, so close.
HuB? Oh, it all goes wide! They missed the light binding! A sick little flash!
This is not the best because now, look at this, Renewal trying to find the fight. Not going to be able to, though.
Yeah, that could have gotten dicey, but a good lantern from Specs keeps Birdie's sword safe. He's able to get out. Now they want to focus in on this Baron, it looks like. Beta fight.
And at this point, they have the opportunity to, you know, once again, I've said if it's a 5 versus 5, I do still think that SP Thessaloniki have the lead potential with the damage coming out from RevRay. If it becomes a 4v4 in tight quarters, though, Kroki's damage is going to be absolutely ridiculous.
That lantern! He's fine.
Oh,
As a
another
flash, I
flash
appreciate
kick!
it, but I don't appreciate that. The kick! Renewal! He isolates longer! A great start! Now a player down. They need to defend around this Baron. If they lose this by battling, everything that SPT worked so hard for could evaporate in an instant. Specs, the buff, it's blocked. It doesn't matter. It's the final spark. Tags the blow, but he survives. Renewal's there, and Inokia has a second kill. Birdie's sword just has to bail over the wall. This Baron is up for grabs, and HuB Valence are open for business.
They're turning onto it. This is all they needed to get the advantage. They know 2 members are down, so if Riven does show up, it's going to be a desperation play if anything. Birdie's sword is on the flank, has the potential to make this Baron steal happen, but it's going to have to be a miraculous team fight if anything. And there goes RevRay. He's going in.
Right into the midst of the whole team. Renewal does get the kill. Light binding keeps McKay on a bang. 2 more kills over. HuB Valence keep the Baron going. Birdie's sword is still in the area though. Longer shuts down Renewal just on the peak. A double kill from the poke. They break off the Baron. 1 man, 1 Oriana. It's enough.
That was really good from SP Thessaloniki because I did not predict that was going to be what happened at all. They basically just ran themselves at the Baron and said, if we can wait long enough for Loanger to come back up, he will be able to threaten with the AoE magic damage and will stop the Baron take, so we just need to stall. And to their credit, stall they did. Baron not going to be going over to anyone just yet, but Lawan is in a lot of trouble right now.
Does get tagged by the Glacial Prison as he tries to turn the tables. Longer Specs both back up and get tagged very low. That acceleration gate empowered AoE.
Now we're going to look back at the item builds, and finally Inakona starting to scale up and get even scarier. He's got the double Zeal, Rapid Fire Cannon, Trinity Force, Infinity Edge. This man does too much damage to deal with. And he's going to be the big threat coming out in these next team fights. But let's take a look back at that Baron fight again. Loanger teleports into the backside of the pit and comes in just after his teammates were done stalling. Renewal's low, they no longer have a smite, so this becomes 100% Birdie's Sword's Baron if he wants it. The shockwave goes down, gets the kill onto the support, and at this point, there is no chance for HuB Valence to take this Baron.
Yeah, absolutely no way, and that was a little bit terrifying. I feel really bad for HuB Valence because I thought that was their turnaround. I thought all of that was going to be what they needed. And now they're just being zoned off of this Baron again. They're kind of right back where they started. Sure, the gold is closer. Sure, things have improved for them, but not enough.
And to be fair, TJ, it could have been their turnaround, but it was a little misstep, not remembering that the Orianna was alive, not immediately turning, focusing, and realizing, okay, we've taken down 2, but the Orianna's back up. She has a teleport. We need to be careful from this point.
We'll have to see if they can keep the ball rolling. Well, keeping the ball rolling and away from scary Orianna TPs.
Yeah.
A little bit of focus.
Make sure that ball doesn't keep rolling.
Yes. A little bit of focus up towards this Baron. You can still see a lot of interest from RevRay down in that bot lane, playing the split pushes. Birdistorm goes through here. Renewal will have to play it safe, but he's over the wall and out.
Birdistorm gets the zoning going, and this is a scary Sejuani.
Renewal goes golden. Final spark does not get off as HuB is absolutely melted. The TP's coming through, but Birdistorm and the rest of SPT are already out.
That's the problem with the luck. She's so squishy, but no, the engage. RevRay might be caught out.
In a lot of trouble. Kia trades it back, and that's a lot lost. Birdistorm tries to make things better, but he just ends up diving in 1v2 and should be focused down. Lamont will be able to grab the kill, and this all of a sudden is absolutely desperate straight. SP Thessaloniki have lost another major team fight. Chaos caught out. He'll be focused down. The mid laner, Kia, has got another kill, and the chase is on for Spec. Running as fast as he can through the jungle. Death sentence play keeps Luan at bay, but not permanently. And now the turnaround onto Baron is here. HuB Valence, Baron take number 2.
Boanger has very little health, but he still has the mana. He still has the ultimate available. If he gets a good shockwave, he's going to land it on one, but he gets shut down. The damage from Inukona, and now the Baron over to HuB Valence. TJ, you were talking about, you thought the last one was their turnaround. Turns out they were just waiting for round number 2.
They'd seen that film before. Second Longer shows up, starts being like, hey guys, maybe I could poke around the side of this fight? No. 3 minutes on the Baron buff. This looks to be HuB Valence's path back into the game.
Not sure about Inukona backing here, but honestly, I'm going to give it to him after that last fight. He put out so much damage and absolutely exploded low anger, keeping all of the threats down. This man is 9-0-5. He's now got both his energized items plus the fleet footwork. He is doing so much damage, so much crit, and he's untouchable. He still hasn't died this game. I thought RevRay was going to be the big carry this game, the big person to be shut down, but suddenly, by playing carefully, by playing throughout the game, HuB Valence have shown that it's Inukona.
And poor RevRay hasn't had a major impact on these recent fights on that Riven. The last 3 fights are those 3 deaths.
And that, I mean, that's the problem with Riven, right? Because she's really great at split pushing, but to team fight with Riven, you have to be, first of all, an absolutely fantastic Riven, but even the best sometimes, those team fights, you have to have very specific engages, you have to play the fights very carefully because she's just not tanky. So now, HuB Valence are taking advantage of that. They're saying, okay, you can come into these team fights, but we're just going to kill you instead. You can come in and try and threaten us in the mid lane, but we'll just take your tower first.
Baron buff at 2 minutes, towers falling across the map, mid lane. High ground turrets exposed. Same is going to be true. These cannon minions aren't stopped in the bot and top lane, respectively. Nokia will just burn down that tower. And this will be the fight for the inhib turret mid. Specs will be pushing forward. They've got the flag for the light bindings there. They say, no thanks, Birdistorm. Come again another time. He turns his focus towards Nokia, who instantly has backup. Renewal goes in with him. I need a win. Shut down. Final spark will go wide, but the rest of the fight does go their way. Even as the dive comes through, RevRay finds a turn. Nicely done. Croaky's gone, but Nokia isn't, and he gets a double, a triple, and keeps the push going. That could be game. The inhib's gone, and everything, every single kill has gone HuB Valence's way as they take the first game of the Grand Finals in 31 minutes.
Inukona, the unstoppable Corki, all of this damage. This is what HuB Valence look like when they have their team together. This is what they look like as one well-oiled machine. And my God, it is scary, TJ, taking down Thessaloniki unchallenged on their path to these grand finals. But now, finally, a challenger has emerged, and their name is HuB Valence.
That was the first map, the first game that SP Thessaloniki had lost the entire City League.
And they lost.
That was literally the first game.
It was so convincing, too. I mean, given that they were undefeated before, that is one hell of a way to lose, because you look at it and RevRay still had a decent KDA. At one point, he was 5-0, though, taking over the top lane, but Lawan stopped the bleeding. HuB Valence as a team stopped the bleeding and didn't let him get everything done. And instead, just look at Inukona the entire game. I didn't focus on him enough. I'll admit that, because he was playing quietly well. He wasn't making the flashy plays, but he was making the right ones.
A stealth biplane in the mid lane walks away with 12 kills at the end of the game, and a truly terrifying performance.
And this is where I start to wonder what exactly they should do coming into the next game, because for both of these teams, there were definitely macro errors, there were definitely micro errors, but my God, that Corki is frightening.
Hold up. I'm just taking a note here. Support Lux. All right. Because it works. Support Lux has a 100% win rate in City League Grand Finals.
Now I know I'm going to have to play with you playing support Lux, and I'm dreading it a little bit. Just a tiny part of me died inside when you wrote that down, TJ. I'm not going to lie, but I have to be fair to Kuve. He did end up playing that pick in the later stages of the game pretty sufficiently. It was just the early stage was not great. And we saw both the strengths and weaknesses of the Lux pick on display there. She is squishy. It is easy to get picked off if you miss position. However, if you position well, you're able to get a lot of supplementary damage into the team fights. You're able to add a lot of team fight CC. And it turns out that was really all they needed on top of a 12-0 and 6.
It was a spicy game. We'll have to see how game number 2 fares, what changes they make in the draft. We'll go to a quick 3-minute break, grab some water. We'll come back with the second game of our grand finals after this.
Hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell. I wanna taste consumption. Breathe faster to waste oxygen. Hear the children sing aloud. It's music till the wick bells out.
fire makes the city look so bright. Close your eyes and just stay tight. We have to go. Stay with me while we leave. Don't worry, just believe me. This journey will relieve us. Stay with me while we leave. Stay with me while we leave. Don't worry, just believe me. This journey will relieve us. Stay while we leave. Stay with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the City League. My name's still TJ, still joined by Matt, Iberian and Daniel, and we are still halfway through the grand finals of the City League's inaugural League of Legends season. We've just seen a fantastic game one between SP Thessaloniki and HuB Valence, who scraped out a win in 32 minutes. Now headed to game two. Matt, what do they need to change?
I think their biggest issue was just prioritization in the early game because they allowed RevRay to get so far ahead so quickly, and it caused a lot of problems for them, and it would have continued causing problems for them if they didn't have the rock-solid mid laner that they did in Inukona.
Mm-hmm.
Because we saw as the game progressed, I mean, we even talked about this during Champions Select, their composition will outscale given enough time. But I wasn't expecting it to outscale that hard, but Inukona was so massively fed and massively uncontested that I think, honestly, if Valence just want to run the same strategy but clean it up a little bit, there were a few macro decisions where I was questioning them. That one team fight down towards the Dragon early on that lost them both the Dragon, basically everyone on their team, and turned the game around for Thessaloniki. Next time, don't do that. I think...
Hold up.
Yeah, write that one down. Don't lose a fight. Or don't lose.
No, I got it. I wrote, don't lose game in big letters.
Right. No, that's good. And I think that's
one.
all Valence really needed to clean up significantly. I think for Thessaloniki, it's frustrating, right? Because the entire game they were winning. And that's...
Yeah, I would be very frustrated if I were on Thessaloniki.
Right. And that's hard to come back from. But what you need to realize is where you made those issues, where you had those problems. And it was a lot of decision making around the Baron. The first team fight around the Baron was good. But when they kept going, the next team fight, suddenly it was like, oh, all right, we stopped the Baron. Cool. Let's go and go for it again. We can do this, right? We've got the Orianna, still got the damage, has like 200 HP, but no one's going to be able to... What was that? Oh, rapid fire cannon Corki just one-shot our mid laner. And now we're down a mid laner and we're down the Baron. So we have no way to contest this massive objective. And from there, it was HuB Valence able to come out with superior team fighting, able to come out because no one could threaten Inukona. So you need better dive. And I honestly, I honestly didn't like the Riven because the way they played around it was not conducive to how Riven works well. She wasn't able to get good flanks. She wasn't able to get good access into the back line, and she didn't split push. If you're not able to give any of those three conditions to a Riven, why did you pick Riven? And that's the big question they need to answer.
It felt a bit like they chose Riven because Revray had played well on him before.
Right.
It felt a bit like they just said, hey, remember that game during group stage where the Riven won us the game? Let's just do that again. But they're not playing the teams they beat in group stage. They're playing the team that came out second from their group and only narrowly. And that means that just scale our top lane, lol, isn't a viable strategy.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, maybe scale our top lane lol would be a viable strategy if it were a Vladimir, if it were a Kennen, if it were something like the Aurelia. But with a Riven, her success is so conditional in team fights. And the way Thessaloniki were playing meant that they had to engage in those team fights. So I want to see a different pick for that strategy.
Let's talk about a different pick for that bot lane, though. Because we put a lot of emphasis onto the Thresh. We were right to do so because it was full support focus in the big ban. We ended up with a weird little Lux support thing happening. We now know Kuve's character pool is Thresh, Morgana-ish, Lux. How much emphasis do you put? Now they have blue side. Now they have first pick on them getting that Thresh.
I still think banning away the Thresh is the right position if you're Thessaloniki, because if you have any player that has a pick so iconic and so successful, you ban that away 100% of the time, especially when their team prioritizes it so much. If you're going to first pick a Thresh, you lose a lot, but it's been shown that HuB Valence have confidence in this pick, and their confidence is warranted. When they first pick that Thresh, they find success. And that's the only formula you need to say, okay, maybe it's worth banning this out still. However, I don't know if I would go all the way towards picking it yourself or having to go for the Morgana ban. Give them the Thresh. They'll get a Morgana ban. Get yourself something that you want to prioritize. Or if you want the Thresh again, you don't have that option this time. So sure, ban it out, but don't focus on clenching down the support pool as much. Just get the Thresh handled however you want to do it, whether it's a counter or it's taking it or banning it away yourself, and then leave the support position alone. Because if you can win with support Lux, chances are you can win with pretty much any support.
I'm keeping an eye on the two clubs as we do get these peeks into them. And I have to say, as we all know, esports comes down to how good a gaming chair you have and how many LEDs. And in both those categories, Thessaloniki are winning.
I think the teams just need some Corsair branded LED RAM. Oh,
they
wait,
they literally look. They literally have RAM branding.
I was memeing. Wait, take me back. Take me back. No, I was joking.
Better, because SV Thessaloniki had everything. That is
their monitors are LED.
That is
RGB.
Actually a sick thing. We'll have to see if they can have a sick draft as well. How well do those LED RGB screens translate into a about help me, save me.
It's okay, TJ. Hopefully we'll see a draft as colorful as their peripherals.
Nice. Got it. Good connection.
Did it. High five. Alley-oop. Let's go. All right. Draven Band coming out once again.
Like acronym. But the only one I could think of was an LMAO, and that is not what you're looking for in a draft.
No,
again,
hopefully not.
Draven Riven. Oh, sorry, the Riven's new. Draven Karma consistent. The Riven, would you really want to ban out that Riven after that last game where it didn't do great?
I like the Corki ban more than the Riven ban. I'll put it that way. Because I understand... if the team is frustrated about the Riven, like if Luan is saying, if I play against that Riven again, I'm not going to say I'm going to leave the game, but I'm going to strongly consider it. If that were me,
against that Riven again.
Yeah,
we've all had that moment.
We all have, and even in a competitive environment, that's a viable thing. We've even seen it in professional leagues as well, where they're just like, I don't need to ban this out, but I hated it so much, and it frustrated me so much that I want to ban it. So I understand that, but I don't think it was necessary, no. I think what they did last game, while possibly unreliable, just pick a better lane into it. Like, if you're afraid of it happening, just pick something that can threaten it.
I bet this is that, though. And it is. Vladimir comes through top lane focus. Because the ban was so focused for Thessaloniki on taking away what went wrong this last game, now they've let through HuB Valence onto their power picks. They'll get away the Corki, they get away the Draven, they get away the Thresh, they lose Vlad first pick. Pakaon, though, gets his Vayne, and Birdis Sword gets his Sejuani. That's actually 2 very good drafts already for Thessaloniki.
Yeah, this is the problem, because last time the bottom lane was saved until the last rotation, and HuB Valence had the opportunity to ban away both the hyper carries in the Vayne and the Kai'Sa. This time, no such luck, and the Vayne is going to be locked in there for Pakaon, and that is scary. That is a hyper scaling 80 carry. If it gets the same lead the Lucian did last game, that is not the game is scary. That is the game is over. So that Vayne is now going to be a big focus for HuB Valence coming into this draft phase. And I like the Lee Sin going in on again to renewal. He showed a lot of strength in the early game on that. And that's what you need again to set up your laners to try and shut down this Vayne, maybe shut down the top lane and get it rolling. And I like the Caitlyn as well from I'm Croaky. It can put a lot of pressure onto that Vayne in the bottom lane.
I'd like to see an Aurelia here in the top instead of a Riven. You can't have the Riven now. Work around it. Give the high mobility pick that has looked so good on Rev Ray in the past, that or a Fiora, but we do get a Lulu instead as the 3rd pick.
I like the Lulu here. I think it's fine to go for filling out the bottom lane here because it does give HuB Valence the chance to ban away Enchanter supports, or the more common ones, which would likely be Karma and Lulu if they were to focus down on that pool specifically. What Lulu allows you to do is give the Vayne a lot more protection, a lot more hyper carry potential going into the mid and late stages of the game, and just lets Vayne be more Vayne.
Which is always good if you are the Vayne. I want to see as well what Kuve's playing, because he's only ever played Thresh, Lux, Morgana. Yes. Now literally those 3 characters have been banned. This is just plumbing the depths of his character pool.
The Zyra ban as well, which is a similar style to the Lux, so yikes.
They just went, hey, wait, you know what? Kuve seems to have a kind of small character. What if we just focused him? We'll find out what happens if you just focus him. Because there are still a lot of really good supports on the cards, of course, but not ones that he plays.
And that's the big issue. Because now you have the Syndra in the mid lane as well, so they now have to figure out their middle lane and support pick, giving the counter pick last to Rev Ray, which I really like. And I honestly really like this pick. If they choose to lock it in.
But no, Jaina hovered instead, and that actually sounds even better in Kuve's hands.
Yeah, I was going to say that makes a lot more sense based on what we've seen from Kuve so far. I think the Jaina is really good with a Caitlyn because you can stay safe, you can stay back, but you can still poke, you can still threaten the Vayne, and you yourself are never under threat. But the Yasuo last pick, that's what I like to see.
More like Yasu, no! Because normally he's banned in my solo queue games. Now he comes through in mids against his Syndra, and we've seen him actually play very well by Enokia before. I think off of that last game performance, he's got big shoes to fill. He needs to prove he can do it again, or he needs to do well enough that he can get backup that he doesn't need to do it again from other parts of the map. I think the Yasuo is actually a really safe character for that. It's very hard to badly mess up a Yasuo mid. Okay.
I disagree with that summary because it's very easy to mess up a Yasuo mid. The problem with this matchup that I can foresee is if the wind wall is not used properly, that is going to be a dead Yasuo 110% of the time. However, if it gets into the later stages of the game, if he gets the engages first, I think Syndra will be under fire because she is very immobile. She's not able to get the push away from him. she will be under threat. But I am mostly concerned about the top lane matchup here, because if Luan can make it into the later stages of the game like he did last time, I no longer have concerns. I'm no longer worried about that. I feel like he's going to be fine. He's going to have a ton of damage. He's going to have a ton of healing. But I know
You're
the
a big
look on your face
Lat
tells me you
fan.
know what's coming next, TJ. There's a big old butt coming up. But if he doesn't get to that point, Renekton is going to absolutely roll over him. It has so much damage in the early stages of the game, has the capacity to take over the top lane. Doesn't matter that it's a range versus melee matchup because of the mobility Renekton has with the slice and dice. You are under pressure for the entire matchup. And given the way last game went, this is, to me, slightly more frightening than the Riven.
We'll see if Ravray can find a little bit more of what he didn't last time. Win that lane as dominantly and then transition it to more. Let me know what you think about it. Send me your favorite Renekton pictures using the hashtag TCL on social media for the City League. You can also just tag us at City League GG, or you can head on over to the website if you have any questions about the schedule, the format, where you can sign up, where you can attend the City League games, because you can just go to these LAN centers. They're real places in Europe. That's all over at cityleague.gg. It's a website.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
You can put it in a web browser. It even works. I actually know this because I checked on Internet Explorer.
Wow. That's
Because
dedication.
I will sound so dedicated. I'm about to win so many brownie points. I had an old PC I was fixing, and I needed a web page to test that the internet was working. And I typed in cityleague.gg, and I went to the web page, and I checked the time for today's broadcast. And you know what? You can do that too, using your web browser on your computer of any age.
Well, TJ, I'm just waiting for them to get the URL cityleague.boutique.
I think cityleague.bike is more accurate because we're paddling on. We're just about to get out of this draft, and I'd like to ask you, how do you think this is going? If I nail down my color caster again, which I love to do, give me a hard prediction. Is this the City League Championship being picked up by HuB Valence, or do we go another game? Do we go all three?
Thessaloniki have a much better chance this time. They have incredibly dominant lanes in the mid and top without jungle intervention, which means that they are going to be able to focus all of their energy with that Sejuani into the bottom lane. If you get that Vayne ahead and your top and mid are fine by themselves, you are going to win this game, period. So it is going to be up to HuB Valence's jungler. Renewal, you got to figure out what you want to do, where you want to focus, how you need to stop this plan from Thessaloniki.
No. I'm going to stop you right there because I've been a color caster, actually more often than you. I know what you're doing right now. I asked you a question, and you said, well, I think it all depends on this. And that seems like a very nice way of answering the question, but you didn't. Give me a team name. Who wins this game? It's like the Oscars.
Let him go.
Oh, that's not like the Oscars. They do that backstage at the Oscars.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
HuB Valence.
Right.
Wait, sorry. No, I'm sorry. Give back the award. It was Thessaloniki.
Oh, it is exactly like the Oscars, and that I have no idea who you're rooting for. We're into game number 2. It will be the second and potentially final game in the City League Season 1 Grand Finals for League of Legends. HuB Valence up 1, looking to pick up their title and championship.
Coming into the game, they've got a lot of work cut out for them. Their weaker early game in the mid and top lane means that they need to figure out how to shut down that Vayne in the bottom, how to keep themselves alive, and how to make it to that later stage of the game. Because honestly, both teams have late game threats here. It's all about the execution, and based on last game, turns out HuB Valence are pretty good at that.
Yeah, they executed Thessaloniki.
Nice.
Dramatic pause there. You were like, who did they execute? I got you.
I thought you were just going to drop it there until I started talking again, and then you were going to finish.
You know what? That's harder to do online. It's harder
is.
to execute online because of the delay. No invades again. Once again, I've literally yet to see an invade in City League. Which is, I guess, safe, but given that this is the same league where we see with things like Lux support running grand finals, it's disappointing, I'm not gonna lie.
It's Europe, it's all about the treaties, it's all about the handshakes. They'll be fine without the invades for now. Well, wait, no, Europe has a lot of invades in history too. Europe just has too big of a history for me to make jokes about it. America's easy.
I'm not gonna make World War II jokes with you. Because I have.
Why did you assume I was talking about
for my
World War
career.
II, TJ?
You're right. That's on me. I'd like to apologize to World War II. Luan up top is a lot of focus for you on that Vladimir that you enjoyed so much. Now, playing into the Renekton, you were putting a lot of emphasis on the early game. Do you stay with that prediction? Do you stay with the Renekton winning early game? Is that why you sided with their team, I think, during your prediction phase?
I want to. I want to,
Okay.
TJ, because with Press the Attack, once you get that Fury and the triple auto with the W, you automatically proc it, you automatically get that damage, and with Slice and Dice, you're able to go in and out incredibly quickly, so you can get those little precise trades. The problem is, Vladimir has Sustain. It's not very high at lower levels. Level 9 is the breaking point when he gets the max levels in Q, where it starts to get ridiculous and insurmountable. The problem I foresee is that Revray might just not have enough damage to kill Lawan at this point. He went for the Doran's shield, which is great into matchups that harass you a lot, but as a result, you lose a lot of kill pressure as well. So honestly, so far, Lawan is going to do fine in this lane, unless Wahid / Revray changes my mind in the next few minutes.
Revray, of course, played the regular season under the name Revray, currently playing the finals on this account, Wahid. We've been calling him Revray just for consistency's sake, but don't get confused. This is a lot of poke happening down bottom. Kaon decides he's had quite enough, and he's got Birdie's sword on the flank as well. That bot lane could be dangerous as the dive comes through. Kaon grabs Brokey, and they've got a knock up on the rush. Nothing more.
Did force the Summoner's Burn. Kaon also used his Flash. So, Flash for heal on the 80 carries. HuB, you got to be careful there. A little bit of damage coming out. But the Tornado, brilliant damage in the bottom lane. Croaky taking damage down onto Kaon. And now, both sides of the bottom lane not going to be too happy about their health bars at the moment.
We didn't really catch it up top because of all the action, but Revray's Renekton just got bullied out of lane by Renewal, who showed up, slapped him around a few times. He's back now for take 2, but already you can see a little bit more emphasis on the top from Renewal.
And this is good, I think, because one of the most reliable late-game carries in pro play so far has been the Vladimir. You see players like the Shy absolutely dominating on it, but to be fair, what do you not see the Shy dominate on? But it has so much strength. It has the strength to engage. It has the strength to sustain through team fights, so you have a sort of faux tankiness with it. But Bird is Sword coming in for a gank from behind. Flash still available for Croaky. Will use it.
Full in, Kube split, Bird is Sword flashes past him, but Kube still gone. Kaon grabs the kill, now the return from Lawan, the TP's good, Kaon shuts down. Wahid will join him in later, the Sanguine Pool's already spent, but the route's good, and Croaky is still here, just raining in the damage. You can see such low HP across the board down bottom.
I have so much faith in Lawan right now, it's insane. That was such a brilliant answer with the teleports from both top laners. Really great focus from Lawan and good zoning with Tides of Blood to push them out up towards the top side, allowed him to get the Crimson Rush on Kaon, get the kill. Suddenly the damage threats are gone. And also, Revray stepped on a trap from Croaky and suddenly took like 70% of his health, entirely shutting down the engage. So ultimately, you lose the support and you get the 80 carry. You now have a 20 CS lead on your 80 carry if you're HuB Valence. This is exactly what they were looking for in the early game, and even a little bit more because of the lead now on Lawan.
A scary sign as well for Kaon, who we kind of rely on to carry these games. He's on Vayne and he's already been shut down at least once.
Yeah, that's the problem with Vayne. Her early laning is not going to be incredibly strong, except into things that she does well into, obviously, which is basically just Kai'Sa. You can threaten the Kai'Sa a lot with your early damage, but against the Caitlyn, you don't have the range. Caitlyn has, I believe, 100 range on Vayne, so you can just keep throwing out autos with no threat of retaliation coming in from the Vayne. So this bottom lane is only going to get worse now that there's a BF sword on Crokey.
This mid poke has been solidly going the Yasuo's way. I felt that Inokia couldn't mess this lane up. You disagreed with me, but I felt that the combination mobility and wind wall of that Yasuo would just be so good. Renewal, are you doing this? A full dive in, I think he wins the smite battle. Chases Bird sword away. Nicely done.
The ult in the mid lane though, TJ, going in.
Yeah, dangerous. Inokia full in on Loner, who of course did so well last game. Renewal's here as well, but Loner just plays it safe behind the tower for now. Poking in when he can. Inokia's got the wave, but he can't full engage with it.
Good disengage there from Lawan, but he's going to have 20 seconds left on that pool cooldown if there wants to be a re-engage here from RevRay. And so far, I am incredibly happy with the early game here from HuB Valence. I think they're doing a fantastic job because they're only down a little bit of CS in the top lane despite the roam coming in, and despite how much damage we're even seeing Renekton able to put out. The mid lane, it's even, and bot lane, they have a massive lead. Mid lane, go for the dive, but force away the flash.
Yeah, flash barely in time from Loger. He gets to safety. Meanwhile, down bottom, Crokey and Kuve get another turret play. This is scary.
Yeah, this is really a bad start here for SP Thessaloniki. Oh my god, he's going to go for the tower dive. What is happening?
He gets stunned up behind the tower. He's so low. That's the 1-1 trade. Both kills. Back either way. 2-2 on the kill feed up top. Sanguine pull from Lawan. Won't save him as the stun comes through. Wahid RevRay can't keep that fight going though, and he knows it. You don't fight Vlad on his terms.
The Hemo play was enough to threaten with the regen, and Wahid was not going to go in. That was really super aggressive from Inakona in the mid lane, and I'm not sure I'm too big of a fan. Let's take a look at this one again. Okay, we're going to start from the bottom lane. There we go. You saw him low, but at this point, you know he has his cooldowns up, so why are you diving that deep? He's going to land the stun. Sure, you get the kill, but you had to flash to do it, and you give away a slight shutdown on top of it.
Here's the dive now down towards the dragon. Kuve will be able to get out with the flash to chase, but Kaon still got the kill. Kuve's gone, and that's another pickup over.
And just like that, SP Thessaloniki are back in it. Unfortunately for HuB Valence, they pick up the kill onto the Yasuo earlier in the game, and now Pikaon is starting to get back into the lane now that he's gotten another kill on top of it. He has the Vamp Scepter and Doran Shield to keep himself safe in lane as well and give him some natural sustain. Sword is really deep into this jungle looking for the Raptors.
Yeah, he'll be chased away. Anita wins in trouble though as the Sonic Wave comes through. A good chase. Sword is there for the backup. SPT back in this game. Mountain Drake over. Good fight. Kill lead. Gold lead, technically. Surely this is a good sign for them. Surely this means they can keep their hopes alive in this grand final.
100%. At this point, SP Thessaloniki have gotten themselves back in the game, if not comfortably. But we're going to see a pause coming out for just a second. We have a few tech issues.
The only technical issue I have is my heart rate as it continues to climb. This is a sick grand final for the City League. I could not have asked for a better result.
Yeah, so far it's still looking like it can go either way too, because SP Thessaloniki, they have run through the gauntlet with no losses. The only time they were challenged was the last time they were up against this team, and it was with substitutes. But now that we see HuB Valence back with their main roster, back with all their synergy intact, they are absolutely bringing it to this #1 seed coming into the tournament, undefeated so far.
I can see some gaming happening on that shot, so we're going to be back into it, and we are. SP Thessaloniki having to recover from that pause in the top lane, but RevRay is capable of doing it. Sometimes unpauses can be scary, like midway through the beginnings of a fight, so you can still pause because it's not technically a fight, but you're like awfully close to that, dude. You know?
Yeah. Like, do we just get a truce at that point?
No. The answer is always no. In fact, invariably, in my experience, two players engage after that. Speaking of, top lane, Lawan in trouble, but he's got Renewal on the backup. Shotting wave in, Wahid in trouble. He's gone. Renewal gets the kill, and HuB Valence tie up the kill feed.
And Lawan is my highlight player so far because he was able to bait that fight out. He knew Renewal was coming. He took an engage really aggressively that RevRay thought he could win. And to be fair, if it were just a 1v1, he very likely would have. But he walked it down towards Renewal. Renewal came in, added the supplementary damage that wouldn't have been there if it were just a Vladimir, and secures himself the second kill for this Vladimir. He's now 1-0-1. He's got all the makings of the Proto Belt. Not quite there yet, but now the bot lane might be under pressure here.
The ultimate comes out. The Glacial Prison. Full focus on Croaky. He's got a flash out for Chaos with the tumble forward. Will grab one kill. Kume in trouble as well. As an afterthought, he too will go down far beneath the turret.
And this is the concern. This is what I was worried about. So now it has happened. Pikaon is fed. Pikaon is becoming Vayne. And this is the fear that should have been in the hearts of HuB Valence from the moment that Vayne was locked in. 3-1-1 now will have the Blade of the Ruin King picking up turret platings in the bottom side of the map. The problem now is there's going to be the dichotomy in this game because the Vladimir... Whoa.
Oh my god. Inoki playing with fire, but it's safer than it looks because Renewal was on the flank.
All right, he doesn't get burned this time, but we're going to have to keep an eye on him. The problem now is that HuB Valence have one very fed carry. SP Thessaloniki also have one fetish carry. The question is whether Lawan can get into the backline onto Pikaon to assassinate him before Pikaon can start popping off, before Pikaon can start getting the damage down into the fight. Based on past games we have seen, the answer is very likely yes. But those games didn't include a Lulu. Those games didn't necessarily include the Sejuani. There is so much peel here that it needs to be a perfect flank from Lawan to enable this. But here's the engage in the mid lane.
Nokia just trying to see if he can get something. Falls short up top. Wahid goes in on Lawan. He's got Bird's sword as well with Glacial Prison. They might shut down the carry. Lawan will be able to get to safety though. Hex Proto Belt with the Sanguine Pool gets him out.
So clean. So unbelievably clean. Yeah, he had to burn Hextech. Yeah, he had to burn Flash. That's fine. I don't care. That was cool to watch, and that's what matters.
They will lose a lot of, possibly even the whole turret. I was going to say a lot of plating. That looks to be all as the TP comes through. No turret down. But that undoes some of the strength of that carry, which has got to be a relieving sign.
For SP Thessaloniki, absolutely. For HuB Valence, now is the time they might have to start worrying once again. Because their carry is down in CS. He's got the kills, he's got the assists, but he's contending with a Vayne who is now only down 24 CS, up 3-1-1. Absolutely ridiculous from Pikaon, and continuing to scale. That's the big problem here that HuB Valence have to worry about going forward. They need to find a way to shut this Vayne down, and they need to make sure they do not lose this Infernal Drake.
Renewal? Poke in, Bird's sword just dueling on the front near that Infernal. There's no flank up, so this top lane fight that's happening, RevRay just thinks he can take it. He just thinks he can take that 1v1 against Lawan, and that is a change in pace.
He absolutely can at this point. He's going for the Spear of Trojan, but no, the gank in the mid!
He's got it! That's beautiful! He just shows up, and it's a one-bow combo for an early pickup, and SPT are scared away from this Drake they were threatening.
Both junglers being given their primary picks, and we're seeing the effectiveness of them on them. But now, Bird's sword looking for the flank out from the side. Pikaon looks, he might be able to get the 1v1. He gets the condemn into the wall. Croaky, goodbye.
That's a pretty major pickup, and Wahid is here as well. RevRay to cut off the flag. A good stump through. It might get worse than this. Inokia shut down, and SPT are back in the game. They lose the Infernal Drake, but they gain 2 major kills.
There needs to be an answer in the top lane. They need to be able to take down this tower if at all possible, because otherwise that is an absolutely devastating loss from HuB Valence. They lost their carry. They lost a lot of damage. Pikaon got yet another kill, and all off the mispositioning from I'm Croaky. Yes, the Inferno Dragon went over to HuB Valence, and that is excellent. But how much they lost after it, absolutely not worth.
Wahid's through. Luan will get out. Safely played. But all this while, bot lane turret over to Pikaon, and this Rift Herald also being picked up by SPC.
The bright side for HuB Valence, if there even is one, is that there were no platings left over on that turret at the very least, so there's not going to be the advantage coming in from the gold from that. But it is the first tower still going down, so it's still a lot of gold into the pocket of SP Thessaloniki, and we can see that in the inventory of Pikaon, a recurve bow, and a Blade of the Ruined King already picked up, almost to that 2-item power spike that Vayne is so known for, makes her so strong in the current meta. And they need to find a way to shut her down once she reaches that point, because if you don't, she will run you over, and SP Thessaloniki will tie up the series 1-1.
I have long since learned to stop count. Oh, there's full in, good engage. Spac's in trouble. We'll just try and bail as 3 players down from HuB Valence are chasing him through the brush, and they can't quite finish the kill. It'll be Renewal to do so. A quick dive in. Burn his sword, cannot find the stun.
Pikaon coming in
to make it happen. This should just be a full disengage. Not even Pikaon can catch up with that. HuB Valence, they've got the hit and run.
Gotten it, but they're sticking around for a little bit longer than I'd like to see them do so. They'll pick up the Scuttle Crab, which is exactly what they were after, and now they're finally going to back off. I hope, because at this point, they do not want to fight Pikaon even without the ultimate.
So as I was about to say, I've long since stopped counting HuB Valence out of games. They have a habit of finding these individual kills, these isolated plays. There they catch Specs just a little bit far from the rest of his team and run a full CC train on him to grab that kill well underneath turret.
Now the question is what they can do to come back into it at this point, because HuB Valence, yes, they're only down 1k gold, but it's where that gold is that matters. We're going to take a look at that replay once more. Inukona goes in for the engage. They're trying to get Specs. Not quite just able to get him, but the Sonic Wave secured by the Tornado, and there he goes again. Renewal with the Lee Syndrome. This time it pays off. And watch the disengage from Kuve. Not only the Monsoon, but later the Howling Gale stops the 80 carry for Thessaloniki right in his tracks and allows his team to get away.
HuB Valence. That kind of brings the gold back on par. We still have yet to see this Rift Herald. That's kind of weighing on my mind. Verda's sword still has him.
The most likely spot for it is right here in the mid lane.
Yeah. I want to see him just kind of dropping towards mid. Force a fight, because this is the moment where Thessaloniki will win that fight.
The problem with that is right now, HuB Valence would be able to stop that push almost immediately because they can just get behind it. You're not really able to force the fight unless you know you have an advantage in members. And since they spelled the backs, now is an okay time to drop it. But remember, you're still going to have a 3 versus 3 in the mid lane at the very least. And they should be able to stop this before the tower dies. But it's very, very tightrope play.
And they do, to your credit. It's almost like you're a caster for a reason. You call it right. Kia goes down bot though. Longer wins that mid duel in the bot lane. The mid tower stays up, but SPT still gains something from it. And Verda's sword almost finds enough poke on Renewal to start a fight as well.
The 1v1 in the bot lane is a lot scarier for HuB Valence than it might seem at first glance. Because yes, it was just one kill, but it's the implications that matter. As Renewal dodges away from the game, but the flash comes out.
Renewal, full chase, he's got Pikaon's got the kill, the flags there from Logar, this looks scary, the dive from Loa does drop a lot of people low, Pikaon cannot stay safe through it, a good assassination lands, Kuve's the instant trade though, a double kill in the middle of the fight, Kuve down, can Loa get more? He can, Logar's out as well, and one man turns the fight, his name is Lawan.
And that is why you have to be so afraid of this Vladimir. If you're Pikaon, it doesn't matter how fed you are. He can just chase you down. And we saw exactly that in that fight. Lawan securing the double kill almost immediately on the bottom lane of SP Thessaloniki. And now they should be able to get themselves this Infernal Drake with their jungler coming back up. But since Pikaon is now back up, as is Low Anger, it starts to get a little bit dicey for them.
Look at Wahid just dueling him. The madman says, all right, I'll fight you. Sure, you just 1v3 my whole team. I'll take that 1-1.
I mean, he can at this point, is sort of the scary thing.
1v3? The rest of his team's here. He won't need to. Bird is short on the front lines. Lawan again threatening to poke him. Pikaon sweeps through. Lawan just chunked down. Infernal Drake stolen by SPT. This could get much worse as Lawan picked up in Okia. Will be shut down. This looks terrifying. Only 2 players. Now 1 player stands for HuB Valence. That's Kuve fleeing in the bottom lane.
The Thessaloniki immediately rotating onto the Baron. They're going to be able to pick this one pretty easily. You've got a Vayne who's 7-2-2. She's got the 2 items she needs. Means this Baron is going down mighty quick. No smite available for HuB Valence, so no way they can contest this one.
That was such a good team fight from SPT. All predicated on RevRay just dueling for so long. Hanging out in the area, stalling out, making sure they were all kind of getting a little bit fed up with him. Let's take another look.
And this was a massive overstay from HuB Valence. That's what I want to point out, because Lawan did not have the mobility to get onto Pikaon. Pikaon got the drop on him, took him down to like 2% health before the fight even started. And after that, what do you have if you're HuB Valence? Their team composition relies on the flank coming in from Lawan. You cannot have him in the front of the fight at the beginning. And that just immediately shut them down. They didn't have enough damage coming out from the rest of their carries, and it just blew them up. The bright side is HuB Valence do have both Infernal Drakes at this point.
Yes. Both Infernal Drakes to HuB Valence. Renewal snagged one right in the middle of that fight. I'm kind of amazed that he had the presence in mind to do that, although maybe that's not a good thing. He should have been a little bit further forward. Baron buff does go to SPT though. That will more than counter it for the time being.
Now they have a reset, they have their Baron. It's what they want to do with it, that is the question. They really just need to pick their lanes and shove it down. They have the capacity to do a brilliant 1-3-1. We've seen Low Anger already able to take out Inukona, so they know they can win that 1 versus 1. Wahid still has the damage to threaten Lawan, so just split it up. You still have the outer tower in mid, sure, but you need the pressure on the side lanes to make sure you can draw away enough members that Lawan can't get a side flank and turn the fight for you.
This is a little bit uncomfortable though. I'm not seeing what I want from this Baron push. SPT split up across the map, all kind of going for separate objectives, none of them really getting them. They get 1 turret mid. It's not what I'd hoped for. Maybe they get this second, it's all worth it.
You should be able to. There's not a lot of counter poke coming in here. Any counter siege options? You have the Caitlyn with incredibly long range, yeah, but against Baron minions, there's not a whole lot of damage she can put out, especially with her items right now. If the rapid fire cannon and the Infinity Edge, she's going to need a second Zeal item, a second attack speed item even, just to break even on these fights, to start putting out the same kind of damage you see from Pikaon.
The same kind of damage you see from Pikaon as he deletes the tower in like 2 shots. Yeah.
maybe a little bit less, but
30 seconds left on the Baron buff, but I'd be satisfied with that. 2 towers, maybe a little bit more pressure. That's enough for SPT on it.
Will be enough for now. They should be happy with that push. They got a little bit more of a lead, and now 6k gold in their pocket, 3 towers up, now bringing it to 4-1, and they should be able to steal over the red buff as well. So at this point, it's still on Lawan to carry. We haven't seen Inukona or Croaky able to put out the amount of damage that you'd expect them to be able to do if you want them to bring out the fights. Yes, Renewal is an amazing Lee Sin. He can still get those engages for you, but if you don't have the damage to follow up on them, there's no point in even getting them in the first place. So they need to stall this one out. They need to wait. But the danger in that is Pikaon.
Every moment they stall, Pikaon hungers.
Pretty much.
And he's only hungry for one thing, the blood of the HuB men.
The bright side of
be
that potential stall is if it ever gets to like the 40-45 minute mark, where it's 6 items all round, HuB Valence just win the game. They have 3 incredibly hard scaling carries. And, okay, they might be able to get the pick on Birdasaur. Nope, not going to go for it.
They didn't want to risk it, and that's good because it was almost a trap. It felt like they had flashbacks to that fight earlier where RevRay did exactly the same thing to them.
Yeah, very careful play. I like that they're leaving Luan up into the top lane to ensure that he can still get CS. They're trying to mitigate the damage elsewhere around the map.
Sword says, okay, you don't want to fight me? Well, I'll just stand like 2 feet from you and hit your ward.
Yeah. Well, he can do this because he's so tanky. We saw this last game as well. The Sejuani is just absolutely massive with just the Cinderhulk, just the Warmogs. Thanks to her passive, she has so much tankiness and just so much raw health on top of it. It's very hard to shred through, especially without any resistance shred yet built on the side of HuB Valence.
Drake's up. Thessaloniki want to poke this tower instead. We'll get it down to about half HP. Not feeling comfortable going for that Drake just yet.
It also
But
isn't
it's
a
gotta
very
be on
high
their minds.
priority dragon for them compared to taking down the bot lane tower, because Cloud Drake, it doesn't do a whole lot for you. It speeds you up a little bit. That's great. But it's not a massive buff like a Mountain or an Infernal. So you're allowed to stall out a little bit, wait for it, go for the higher priority objective, and when you have priority on a push, go for that first.
I'm going to be a little bit careful because there's some gardening happening very close nearby. I'll hand things to you.
All right, looks like going to be the Cloud Drake taken away there by SP Thessaloniki, but we have an engage here coming in. Birdasaur getting pretty low, has to flash out of the pit, and it looks like that'll be the disengage here from HuB Valence. HuB on the back of that fight got real low, but they were able to take out low anger throughout all of it, losing just a dragon in return. Baron won't be up for another minute or so. Just going to tick over now into that minute mark. And now the concern is, can Luan be fed enough to get the damage he needs in this next fight? He needs a flank, and he needs to get it onto Pikaon. If that does not happen, this is going to be the end of the game for HuB Valence.
I want to... Okay, so I'm biased because I want to see a map 3. But SP Thessaloniki have played so well so far. Now Kuve might be in trouble. Birdasaur poking things out. This feels like the return to the SPT we saw many times during the group stage. Birdasaur just bullying in the front lines while the rest of the team follows through. The TP in, though, makes things dangerous into the back lines. Wahid shuts down the front, but you can already see the danger presented by Luan in the back as he just single-mindedly chases with no HP left. He'll have to bail. It's only Wahid to full press PT as Pikaon sweeps through the rest of the frontline members, and it's a clean team ace.
He just did not have enough damage, and this was my concern when you add the Lulu into the Vayne. This is what happens. She has so much attack speed, so much damage, so much health, that she can just face tank all the damage from Vladimir unless he's insanely fed. And that is exactly what Pikaon did. Threatened Luan out to the side of the fight. He had to disengage, and yes, they stalled the Vayne for a while, but it wasn't long enough for the rest of HuB Valence to get anything done, and SP Thessaloniki could then turn the fight onto the Baron, and it just absolutely wiped down HuB Valence, and now their chances are looking slimmer and slimmer by the minute.
Yet another 30-minute game, yet another Baron picked up at that 30-minute mark. This time, though, it's SPT in the driver's seat. This time, it's their turn to drive this to a map number 3 and keep their grand final alive.
Lulu in Vayne just too strong. That's going to be the theme of this fight. You look at it here. Look at that teleport there on the top side of your screen. You're not going to be able to see the full extent of it, but there, he goes in and gets a lot of damage. But look at how much shielding, look at how much healing he gets just from the autos, just from Lulu. Half health on Pikaon. And that is all that mattered, because in the back half of the fight, Luan was able to get that down. He then rotates in to do more damage, but instead, he gets taken out.
The lifesteal Pikaon enjoyed there. It's just absurd.
Well, when you have so many shields coming in from Lulu. You have the Ardent Sensor as well, speeding up your attack speed, plus Lulu already speeding up your attack speed with Whimsy. There is so much going for you in these fights that as a Vayne, if you're already ahead, you don't really have to play the game anymore. You can kind of just sit there and right-click. And luckily for Pikaon, that is literally what he did. to Lawan. He just sat there. He's like, condemn, okay, I'm going to right-click on you, take my hands off the keyboard, and you're still going to die. I'm going to be half health at worst.
At some point, Vayne players just start playing an RCS.
Yeah, exactly.
And Pikayon has hit that point. SP Thessaloniki have hit that point. If Pikayon isn't shut down at the head of these fights, it doesn't look winnable for HuB Valence. Now, the good news is they do have an awful lot of dive. They have a lot of players that can get into that backline.
They do, but the problem is they need a concerted effort to get there. So far, we haven't seen that. There's been so much faith in Lawan, and granted, it is warranted faith. He has played excellently so far, but he is no longer enough by himself. You need a concerted effort from multiple members to get onto Pikayon before the fight starts, and that is going to prove nigh impossible. The other option you have is if you take out Specs before the fight begins, Pikayon can no longer 1v5.
That would be nice. For now, they're just trying to hold these high ground turrets, these inhib turrets, and I don't think they're going to struggle, at least until SPT put a full team behind one of these pushes. For now, it's just been a poke game, and HuB Valence can hold on.
Towers are getting chipped down moment by moment by these cannons, empowered by the Baron buff. And, you know, Croaky has finally gotten that second Zeal item, but getting engaged on under the tower.
For this sword, full dive, this turret, no HP with the redemption. Pikayon just sweeps through, grabs the turret, grabs the first kill of the fight. Make that two, make that a double kill, a triple kill for Pikayon on the dive. The inhib's gone as well. SPT have the team fight, and they have the ace, and they have the game number 3 as they drive our grand finals all the way. HuB Valence and SP Thessaloniki are going to a third match.
That was similarly messy to last game, but it was a much cleaner end. They just had to wait until that Vayne got going, and by God, did it get going. Congratulations to Pikayon, because that was some absolutely incredible play. But between Specs and Pikayon, there wasn't a whole lot that could be done by HuB Valence by the end of it. So there's not a whole lot to look at on this score screen. I mean, Bird of Sword never died, just was tanky the whole time. And then Pikayon 10, 2, and 4 on this Vayne, put out so much damage, a full item ahead of his opponent during that game. And TJ, that was, to borrow a phrase from my Australian friends, that was a shellacking.
I was going to say that was in vain.
Oh, nice. I like that one better. Can we
was...
roll back? Hold on.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to do that again? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay, and we see this score screen. It's really nice. Now we're back to the casters.
Wow. Oh, my God. They tried so hard to shut down that Vayne, TJ.
Uh-huh. But it was in vain.
Yeah. I wanted to give it to you because it's your line.
Oh,
okay. I felt like that was fair.
You know what? Let's take a quick break. We'll workshop that. Game number 3 of these grand finals still to come. Don't go anywhere. The epic conclusion of City League Season 1 after this.
Jack it up. Jack it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the City League Grand Finals. We've got one game to go between HuB Valence and SP Thessaloniki. My name is still TJ, still joined by the LPL's wonderful man, Matt Niberio Clendaniel. We have one game as this BO3 has come all the way down to the wire. And I think we've seen the ideal scenarios for both teams. What happens game 3?
I think the biggest thing is just prioritization from both of these teams, because both of them have a lot of faith in their top laner, and that faith is warranted. But in game number 1, we saw all of the faith for Thessaloniki put in their top laner. It did not pan out. RevRay was not able to solo carry. Game number 2, all the faith for HuB Valence was in Lawan, but that didn't pan out either because he wasn't ready to solo carry. This time, I want to see both teams adopt a double carry strategy where they put priority on both of them. It seems, and it's easy to as well, play around only one player, because that's obviously really easy to do. It's like, okay, where does the farm go? Only to Lawan. Where does, okay, who are we going to wait for in team fights? Lawan. Luan. Just Luan is the answer to everything. And that makes macro really easy, makes farm prioritization really easy. The problem you have is if that's not enough. If they're not successful enough, you end up with games like last one, where Pikaon, unfortunately, just got too big to handle for HuB Valence, and they were able to bring it back to a game number 3.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
the
And they look
biggest
so
problem
sad
as well
about it.
is
Look
just
at
go on.
Look at the HuB Valence club. This is intense.
Yeah.
This is a strat meeting that's happening right now as they try and figure out what they need to change for this game 3. By contrast, everyone's all cheers over on the SPT side. They're having a good time, and why not?
After that last game, yeah, I feel like that's the exact attitude they should have. But for HuB Valence, the biggest problem last game was the overstay at the Infernal Drake fight. Because we remember it, because that was terrifying. They were just like, okay, we got the fight around the Infernal. Let's just chill here for a bit. Let's just hang out. Yeah, feel it. Let's go. Oh, that's a Renekton. We can fight that. Sure, cool. Let's just fight the Renekton. Oh, it's a Vayne. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. And unlike me, they never came back.
That was a good reenactment. I appreciated that. I can tell you're enjoying having more space.
I am. It's so great. I don't have a wire.
Normally, and I identify with this too, because when you're on a real serious professional desk like the City League, they tell you where to stand. They say, "Hey, you have these 2 lines of tape, and you don't move."
Oh, you
But
get
here,
2 lines. We just get a little sticker.
Oh, I get 2
masking
lines
tape
on either side on most of my, and then I can move in that range. And then sometimes I like lean, but I'm like out of shot, and I get yelled at. Sorry, we're just unpacking our personal grievances. If you'd like to unpack your personal grievances, though, you can hit us up on Twitter. Go to @CityLeagueGG on Twitter, Facebook, or Twitch, where we're City League. Hang out in the chat. Use the hashtag TCL. I'd love to hear what's upsetting you today and who you think's going to win this final game, this grand final.
I think both of these teams need to get some masking tape and tape together their plans a little bit better.
Yes. Because we kind of saw the faults.
Right. Last game for HuB Valence, for both these teams, I think it's just a lot of decision-making around fights. When to stay, when to leave. And that is a very vague thing to try and improve on because it involves a lot of risk assessment. It involves a lot of understanding your weaknesses, understanding your strengths, understanding how much you can get done. And I feel like both of these teams have demonstrated that in moments, but in other moments, it's been sort of like lemmings. It's like, okay, he just dove off the cliff. I guess we should go to, you want to come dive off this cliff? Yeah. Okay. We're diving off the cliff. Come on, guys. Let's go.
All right. Sure. I'll do that. Oh, that's
just how
I need to do that
how the fights go.
That's confusing. But yes, they need to be, I think, a little bit firmer in the shot calling. This is something you see with a lot of amateur teams, a lot of developing teams, is they just don't quite have a clear enough command strategy yet. But we have a draft. Speaking of command strategy, what needs to change? What are your highlights for this Game 3 draft?
Draven.
Honestly, I don't think the draft was terrible from either team last game. I'm not particularly unhappy with any of the draft. I'm more unhappy with the play. I like this ban from HuB Valence, though. They've left up the Sejuani all 3 games. It has been a problem for them all 3 games. Even in their victory, the Sejuani was a big thorn in their side, and this will force Birdasaur off something comfortable. I like that there's more adaptations in the bans this time as well. It's not just blind banning, it's all banning things that they've seen cause problems for them, and I think so far, every single one of these bans is fair. But I think I do want to see, I want to see the Riven Man stay gone this time from HuB Valence because I don't think it's worth banning. I'm interested to see what the first pick is, and I want to see if Thessaloniki, okay, they are still going to keep the Thresh gone. They're going to get that ban out of the way, which means that it'll probably force the red side Morgana ban here from HuB Valence. So those are the only bans we're going to see. I would actually be really interested to see if they don't ban it. They will. Never mind. I don't get to be interested, guys. It's fine. Not particularly interesting either, so we're just happy. First pick here is going to tell us a lot about the pick strategy coming in today from RevRay. because I want to see if they want to focus him again, put him on a carry and blind pick it. But instead, they're going for a safe flex pick in Karma. We've seen both Low Anger and Specs play this before, so I'd like to see them give that the opportunity, and it adds a little bit of chaos into this pick ban for the side of HuB Valence.
Give me Aurelia on LeBron because it was terrifying, and I'd like to see it again. Thanks. Good old
Give me Aurelia or give me death.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
But no, a Lee Sin first draft. That's, I think, just a stall because they 100% want that for renewal. That's like his go-to. So they ran out of time and they wanted an extra second. Just draft the Lee Sin. Renewal can go through whatever they're picking up top, or maybe they're prioritizing ADC. That decision can be made now.
Yeah, I like this from them, but
so this is Cuvey's character pool coming back to bite them. Cuvey doesn't play enough supports. They need to draft the Lux because he literally has nothing else he feels comfortable on.
I felt like the Janna wasn't terrible, though, is my problem with this. I don't think it was good, and he definitely showed that he had less comfort on it than he did the Lux, but I feel like the Lux support has enough drawbacks that it might be worth considering the Janna instead. Clearly, they disagree and want to give Kube as much comfort as possible, but they've given away the Sivir as well, so that's just spell shields. It means your CC's not going to be landing as consistently. You're not going to be having that much threat in the bottom lane. But the bottom lane has been very likely locked in at this point.
I'm just blown away because HuB Valence win this series with their eyes closed if Cuvey feels comfortable. Like, that is how good he is on one character.
Yeah.
And that has been their undoing this entire grand final, because they finally found the one team in the City League that doesn't want to give them Thresh.
They're like, wait, we could just ban that thing.
Yeah. And then they've been banning out the Morgana to make sure that they don't get countered on the Thresh, and they've consistently lost out on that exchange, ending up with these weird Lux picks and... Ugh. Don't worry about this Annie, by the way. It is a placeholder pick. It will be a Rek'Sai.
Okay, I'm not going to lie to you, TJ. I can only tell you the truth. I was worried. Because that was suspect. But it is a Rek'Sai, which is significantly less suspect, but it is a very big departure from the Sejuani that Bertasword has been playing so far. It's a different style. You can also go for early skirmishes, but it's most of the power in the early game. Almost all of it entirely is just early game snowball with damage. We haven't seen that come out from the jungler of Thessaloniki just yet. So I'm interested to see how it happens. I'd also like to talk about the Kalista on the other side of the draft, because TJ, let's think about Kalista a little bit. What does she do with her ultimate? She pulls in the support and throws them back out. You know who's not really happy with being thrown into the enemy team? It's going to be the Lux. The Lux is going to be really unhappy about that because she has about 3 health.
Sorry,
total.
I can't hear you over the gardening, but I heard the pause.
I figured as much, so it's okay.
There was
we don't have to worry
blower
about it.
parked inside my ear. But I'm back.
Unlike HuB Valence, we don't have to worry about it, but we do have to worry about the Fates call on that Lux, because you can use it for repositioning, yes, and keeping your support safe. That is a totally viable use, but you give up the other usage, which is getting a knock-up with it. I like the Sylas.
I like the Sylas as well, especially where I assume it's going to go, which is that top lane, low one.
It can be flexed into both positions, which is one of the great things about it. So now we can finally see whether this Karma is going to be mid or support in this last phase of the drafting here. And that will allow a counter pick in the solo lane, very likely, now that they have that. So the Syndra locked in again for win Low Anger, which he did very well on last game, was even able to 1v1 Inukona at all stages of the game.
So I'm a little bit curious now, as it's going to be Fioria, I was going to say, as to what's happening in that top lane, and it is going to be Fioria into the Sylas. That's comfort picks, that's meta comfort picks for both sides here.
Yes, but not a matchup you see very often as well. I think I don't know how this matchup plays out, and I'm excited to see it because Fiora can get a lot of poke damage done. She does a lot of true damage with her lunge passive. Okay, and that's going to be the Jace is the last pick. Remember, everything is going to be remade here in Champion Select because that was a placeholder pick.
Placeholder. No,
We'll
Annie,
just-
it's a Rek'Sai. Don't worry.
We're all
We're just going to
happy.
cycle through the draft again, and then we're going to be locking in the right things.
But I'm a little bit weirded out by this composition here coming in from HuB Valence because it seems, I don't want to say schizophrenic because that's inaccurate, but the feeling behind it is right. Because it seems like there's two different voices talking about what this composition should be. Because you have Lee Sin, Callista, Silas, which are really great at team fighting, but then you have Lux and Jace, which are basically just poke machines. So you have to figure out what you want to do with this, and what you're left with is you have a great composition for getting picks, but not a whole lot else. Your team fights can go well, but that's not where your composition will excel. Whereas on the side of Thessaloniki, you have a better chance at those team fights, but both of them are kind of split up. I expect Thessaloniki to go for a 1-4 in terms of macro and just send the Fiora on her own to try and get things done, because Karma and Sivir has permanent wave clear on any number of waves. You add a Syndra to that, you add a Rek'Sai to that, and they can just counter siege for days as the Fiora goes for the 1v1. And that's a smart strategy when you have Rev Ray. He is arguably the strongest top laner in this tournament, arguably the strongest player in this tournament because of his rank, because of his experience. So this is a good strategy that I like to see from Thessaloniki. Yes, you are putting a lot of the eggs into the Rev Ray basket, but this time the wicker is a little bit thicker.
It's a big basket. You could fit so many Easter eggs. So HuB Valence seem to agree with you. I'm actually looking at their camera right now, and you can see kind of glum expressions there. This is going to be a rough game for them just based on the draft. What can go right for them? What is the turnaround?
They just... the problem with that, TJ, is they just have to win everything.
Oh, yeah. Just outskill them, lol.
Pretty much, because you have the advantage in the... You don't have the advantage in the early game jungle. Let's just run through the lanes. We'll start with the jungle. You don't really have an advantage there because both of these are really good early gankers. They're good at early skirmishes. They're going to put out a lot of damage for you. And only Lee can make plays late, but Rek'Sai can keep her damage relevance into the later stages of the game, and with her ultimate can go past the front line if she's able to tag a backliner. So has a lot more damage threat as you get into those mid-late stages of the game. You look at the top lane. You have Fiora versus Jace. Presumably, it could also be Jace in the mid lane.
I bet that's the Silas.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be the Silas.
I know that's wrong, but I bet it's the Silas because Lawan's played him in the past and Inokia's played Jace in the past.
And Lawan's the one who picked him in the remade draft. So, context clues. So we figured that one out. Silas, Fiora, both of these champions can heal, and I'm not super confident in either direction about who is the winner here. So we'll just put that one as a maybe. We'll put that in the maybe basket. This is a chance for them to bring it back. You look at the mid lane, though. Jace versus Syndra. Syndra can kill you. Syndra can out-trade you. Syndra can out-poke you. Your only chance is to poke harder, faster. But once she hits 6, she has so much more power than you do. Jace doesn't get a combat ultimate at level 6. He just gets bonuses to his current ultimate.
So, do we at all give credit to Inokia because of how dominant he was on that Corki, though? Do we at all give credit to him on a Jace, a very high-skilled character, and just say, over the course of this game, if Inokia plays well, this Jace will be terrifying by the mid?
It will be terrifying, but by the late, it'll be significantly less so. Jace's itemization is heavy into lethality, which does not scale into the later stages of the game. Additionally, there is only so much lethality you can stack before you start having to go for other items. So for Jace, he has this like 3-item point where it's like, okay, I have the raw damage I can get. Now I have to add on to it with other supplementary stats. I'm no longer just chunking things for 100% of their health with poke. And that's where I think the problems are going to come in. So I think if you're HuB Valence, first up, clear up the glum faces, guys. You gotta have the right energy for it. You gotta have the right attitude. You gotta come into this with a smile and a prayer. Hopefully, at least one of those two things.
If they actually, you know what? I'm going to break the rule of casting. I'm going to have a little bit of caster bias. I'm really hoping HuB Valence clean out this grand final because I want to see what a grand final victory dab looks like. Because we have seen what their semi-final victory dabs looked like, and they involve dangerous amounts of rolling chairs. So I'm just really rooting for them to hurt themselves.
Could it be
out of
like
the
a
game.
dab high five?
I don't. Whoa.
I'd be
Move
about
on
that.
before the video game Fortnite gets any ideas. So if we're drawing a lot of emphasis towards the early mid, then it sounds like for the Jace, is there anything else on that HuB Valence side that can back it up?
Luckily, a lot of their composition is pretty early game focused. You have the Lee Sin, you have the Callista, which is very strong in early stages of the lane, as well as the Jace. Silas takes a little bit more time to get going. His healing and everything scales off of AP. So once he gets more items, he gets more damage. That's fine. We'll just call that late game insurance. My big concern is, as ever, the Lux support, which is the problem here. Because with, say, an Alistar, with, say, a Braum or something, even a Blitzcrank, if you want to go to the old school Ballista combo, these are great supports that can help you in the early game. Lux has some damage, but if she ever gets caught in your engage, that's a problem. Pre-6, if she gets caught out, she's dead. Post-6, if she gets caught out, she wastes your ultimate and you lose engage potential. Post-6, even with your ultimate as Callista, you have so little engage potential. Because if you Fates call that Lux into the middle of a team fight to get the knockup, she dies. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She will die. So that it introduces this terrible decision making where you're like, okay, do I kill my support and get a 5-man knockup? Or do I just leave that position? And that's why I'm concerned this game. Because their composition could work. It just relies on the Lux being better than what you've lost for picking it.
It feels a little bit like the Lux is kind of a checklist, though. Land the light binding, spend the ult. At that point, who cares? Right? The Lux has done their part for the team fight. We'll find out if they can do their part for this game, as it's game number 3, the grand final of grand finals in the City League Season 1 of League of Legends.
It's going to be one hell of a finals game, TJ, because all eyes this game are going to be on the Lux. She has Aftershock this time. So, interesting proposition. She's squishy by herself. She has no resistances by herself. But if you put Aftershock on her and she gets a knock-up and a snare, well, she's got a bunch of extra resistances now.
So what I'm hearing is this Lux is competitively viable. Game 3, let's go!
I might get a hearing check if I were you.
Okay.
But I'm not saying it's the worst anymore. I'm saying it's severely suboptimal, and Kuve needs to impress us again with it. That's what I want to see from him. I want to see the best support Lux performance I've ever seen in my life, and that's not hard because the only other person I've seen play support Lux for a full game is me.
How good did that go?
Actually, it went well, but I'm not good, so...
All right.
It's sort of a mixed bag.
Stay humble, Matt. That's what's important.
That's what I'm trying.
I would like to highlight, I was apparently both right and wrong. Lawan will be playing this Silas, but in mid. Lol.
Interesting. And both teams have decided to do this lane swap.
So we were right about the matchups, just wrong about the lanes.
But this is actually, I think this is good for HuB Valence, because clearly it means someone was trying to dodge the matchup, which is terrible. I'm going to assume, you know what, I'm not going to make any assumptions about that. I don't pretend to be that smart. But I am going to say that a Syndra in a long lane is a dangerous thing. She has no escape, she has no mobility. So if she gets ganked because she's overshoved, she dies. That doesn't happen in mid because it's such a short lane.
We do have a pause come through, some tech issues. Bird is sort complaining about an FPS drop. So he'll chill for a moment, maybe restart his client, pray to the right gods. We have a hot minute. So lane swap, but otherwise your predictions are only mildly shifted. You think HuB Valence got a little bit out of that. Overall,
I
it
think...
sounded like, I have an extra minute now, so I'm going to nail you to the wall. It sounded like you sided with SP Thessaloniki coming into this game to pick up game 3.
Yes. I'm not gonna butter anyone up because
All right.
Thessaloniki's draft feels so much stronger.
I'm going to say game
CC,
number
they
2,
have Poke.
Kube's figured out the Lux. Game number 1, it kind of worked. There was like one team fight where it looked good. Game number 2, he's got it figured out, and we're going to see support Lux come into the meta. We're out of the pause. I got an opportunity to prove me right.
The question, TJ, I feel, is less, has Kuve figured out the support Lux? And more, what is the support Lux? And is it good enough to be worth figuring out at this point? Because it's not a standard pick, but we see a mid lane gank already.
Oh, yeah. Ray in trouble. Renewal's there. He's got the flash. Surely not. He'll get out. My God.
The missed Sonic wave from Renewal absolutely destroyed any chances of that gank going down. They did at the very least burn the flash, so successful ganks on both top and mid by the junglers of the other team.
Yeah, nicely done. As summoners are burned across the map, now Longer gets a little bit of revenge with some poke up top. That'll be all. Specs down bottom with the Chaos. Should be able to get a turret play maybe out of this. No, Croaky's not silly. They got a light binding as well. Support Lux chimes in. Spect has to back off.
Not quite enough damage for that just yet, but now gonna have to shove out the lanes, and I am still so concerned about this bottom lane. Lux is doing decently under tower with team, but now we're seeing the top lane, which was going to be the mid lane matchup, turn out pretty much how I thought it was going to go, which is Syndra do a lot of damage. And especially now that Jace can no longer get poked through the wave, it's starting to look a little bit scary for our friends here on HuB Valence.
Oh, Renewal. Things looked a little bit scary for him as well. He has to burn the flash to get out. HuB Valence bullied across the map. Now a 3-man rotate down bottom, led by Birdie's Sword on that Rex sign.
He's staying.
Been spotted. He'll play it safe.
Finally comes back out of that. That's the right decision there. Wanted to go for the really aggressive blue take, I think, but at a certain point, you just need to think of how much time you're wasting and how many resources you put into it. I really don't know about this one. Staying around doesn't feel like the right decision.
He's still hovering in there. In the meantime, mid lane, Luan's winning his duel. Birdie's Sword, you said it didn't feel like the right decision, but it may pay off. Renewal very low. Light bindings there. Support Lux saves the day. Aftershock on this Vex as well, who will get the kill onto Renewal, but at what cost? As he's chained down, you can see Kuve find the damage as a second life binding ensures Croaky gets the kill.
Okay, so that's how they bring back the lead, I guess.
Support Lux!
Don't do this to me!
I'm not doing it to you. Life is doing it to you. Witness the evolution, the birth of the ultimate meta, and witness it again.
And this is why I said you don't want to go in for that blue buff engage. It is so risky. You never know when the bot lane is going to rotate up for HuB Valence. And turns out the answer is immediately. Then you're going to lose your jungler. You're going to lose your support. The mid laner even had time to roam down and get the assist on the kill. It's just too over-aggressive. And finally, we're seeing smiles on the faces of HuB Valence. Oh my God!
Oh my God! The slivers of HP with which Luan turns that mid-fight. His passive secures it. Nicely done.
I'm watching the player cams, TJ, if I don't see a dab.
Play. Yeah, no dabs on the HuB Valence side, just satisfying clapping. Hey, it's been good signs for them. I'm very happy. Here's how this mid-lane engagement went down.
You're going to be going in for a little bit of a trade. I don't know why you would go in at that point, even if you just want the one poke. He gets the riposte, but not the CC from Luan, so it's just going to be an auto from him. Admittedly, Revray lasts way longer than he should have here. Luan forced to flash out, taking so much minion damage, but did not expect the healing from the Kingslayer to allow the return kill from Luan. So now 1-0-1 on this Silence in the mid lane. He was having troubles in the lane itself. It seems like in the 1v1s he's going to be fine, unlike Renewal.
You're behind, Renewal. You can't take these by Ferdin's sword. Gets another kill. And the bot lane's not really going any better up top. You can see Nokia finally being able to chime in for the damage. One, please. He has the shielding underneath the tower. He's almost got that turned. RevRay does get the kill and does get away with it.
This is all on SP Thessaloniki right now, because if they're able to play these engages properly, they should be winning every single one of these trades. Problem is, HuB Valence aren't giving up. They're not letting them get away with it easy, and they're challenging every single play. Unfortunately, doesn't seem like it's enough in the top lane as another kill goes over.
Okay, SP Thessaloniki, now the kill lead. Do have a gold lead. Even though we've been hyping up HuB Valence, even though I've been super psyched about Support Lux multiple times, it does seem like Support Lux and maybe Bird's Sword are the only highlights for now. Uh-oh. Renewal? He's fine.
That was cute. That was really cute from both sides. I appreciated it. Now Lawan going to go for the engage on the Bird's Sword, going to use the Rek'Sai ultimate, but that allows for the tunnel. So Lawan, not the greatest timing on that one.
He survives the engagement though and gets a little bit of free poke on the Bird's Sword, so he won't be too sad.
Now we look back at the mid lane, and these lanes are not going well for HuB Valence. The fights around them are going decently because they've been able to mechanically outplay, but if you just look at the lanes themselves, they're down in CS in both the solo lanes and the bottom lane. They don't have a lead to their name in anything at this point. They need to find the play that'll get them back into this, and that is not it, forcing the flash away from Croaky.
Yeah, this is starting to look dire. As, to be fair, you did predict for HuB Valence. This is kind of those lane matchups you were talking about. We said the mid-game might be their best point of contact. We're kind of approaching that now. Every game in this series so far has gone past the 30-minute mark, though only barely. And we're about to get close to the 10-minute mark, with HuB Valence solidly behind.
The problem with the prediction for the mid-game was that it assumed HuB Valence would be able to get the leads in the early stages of the lanes, and so far that just hasn't happened. I want to see Renewal go for more aggressive ganks like this one into the bottom side. There's the Fate's Call. They're going to go for it this time, but not enough range. And the jungler there, Bird's Sword, coming back in.
Yeah, you don't mess with the Rek'Sai. And oh my god, you don't mess with Logar in the top lane. He'll barely get out. Kuve and Croaky down bottom will barely survive the pressure as well, clearing wave in time. Uh-oh. Surely not, Lawan. Yeah, don't do anything silly.
Yeah, this is not his time to fight. He needs to wait for a few more items for that to happen.
For now,
I do really like the Executioner's
Calling. Early success, but it was always when RevRay was low, and I don't think he can win a fair fight yet.
I'm also wondering why he went Electrocute. I know he assumed it was going to be a mid-lane matchup, but I feel like Aftershock would have been the better choice here, because once you get that stun, once you get that root, suddenly you don't get return damage, and that's going to help you out in a melee versus range matchup anyway. So in the swap matchup, melee versus melee, it's even better.
Final spark. He gets the kill. Kuve with the aftershock picks up an opener. They've still got Mikael in the area. And Bird's Sword, who opens out from the brush. 2 kills over. A double kill. Now a triple as a kill goes over to FPT up top. And HuB Valence are shattered in game 3.
3 kills in 2 different lanes, and they might be able to get the 2 towers in both of them as well. This is just an absolute decimation from SP Thessaloniki so far here. 2-0-0 on the top laner. 1-1-0 on the mid lane, but that doesn't matter. Look at the Rek'Sai, Bird's Sword. I had doubts about him playing such a different champion, but all of them have been erased. 3-1-2. This Rek'Sai is absolutely dominating the early game.
Bird's Sword is so consistent, and here you see why.
Just this top lane gank, you have a teleport coming in, so both solo laners going to be here and help out. And RevRay flashes forward, the stun from the back end from Win Low Anger. So good. Across the map, SP Thessaloniki making the right plays.
Oh, light binding, a little bit of push. How do you feel about basically the solo kill Kuve got down in the bot lane?
Good start, needs more.
He's also running mobility boots, so just like to shout that out because Zumi Lux is hysterical to me.
Well, yeah, and that's what he went last game as well, because he's going for a more supportive build than the full AP, which, technically speaking, in a competitive environment is better, but I'm not sure how I feel about it here. Because if you're picking the Lux, there are infinitely better options. But Lux is good at being a bursty mage. Here, this team fight's not going to be good for her.
Yeah, HuB already burned down. Renewal's too far forward. Burning Sword emerges from the wall and grabs another kill. This looks bad for HuB Valence. That's going to be another tower down, this time bot lane for Kaon to pick it up.
Now they will pick up that tower. It's 2 so far, but the chase from Sword, he's looking for it.
Smite came through. You can't dodge over walls. That doesn't get you free from a Rek'Sai as the ultimate takes Sword into the base, and he's got the kill. He's now got to get past the tower. That could be dangerous, but he just draws HuB. Oh my god! A double kill well inside the base, and he almost set up for Renewal to be shut down as well.
13 minutes in, and they're killing people inside the base of the enemy team. SP Thessaloniki, this lead is almost insurmountable. 5K at 13 minutes. This is looking like a dominating performance from the formerly undefeated team of the City League Season 1.
Game number 1 was shaky. SP Thessaloniki have turned back on the heat. They look to close out the grand finals, having only lost 1 game their entire season. Lawan, very low, will be burned down in mid. The TV's here, but it's too little, too late in Nokia. Can you get this with the acceleration game? Maybe he's got the speed boost, but he can't quite finish it. Final spark across the map. The slam dunk from HuB.
Support Lux. Woo! Woo! I guess I'll give that one to the support Lux, but that was just a really unfortunate play. That was this is the problem now for HuB Valence, right? They are so far behind. Like, look at this. Look at how little damage he's able to put out in return. Lawan barely survives from this. Tries to throw his whole burst combo, has a Syndra ult of his own, doesn't even take low anger below half. And then look at the beautiful plays. The slow away, the knockback, it requires the Lux ult for the kill.
Boom! But God, was that Lux ult satisfying? And it was quickly paid back for Sword gets HuB. In the meantime, and Renewal's in trouble up there. Chased away. That means this Rift Herald is a dicey proposition. HuB Valence are in the area. They know it's being taken. Sword will focus it though.
Sword now sitting there 7-2-2. This is an absolutely disgusting carry performance coming out from him. Why didn't they play this earlier, TJ? If it was going to be this good.
Because his Sejuani's better?
Huh.
I don't... Sword is really good on both Sejuani and Rek'Sai. Those have been his core throughout the season.
Looks like it's Specs in so much trouble.
Sword will lead the way though in Nokia. Has to turn it carefully. Specs hangs round a little bit too long. Has to back up. SP Thessaloniki don't get what they want, but they do get the Rift Herald.
Rift Herald secured, sitting in the pocket of Sword. Now they had to figure out where to drop it. The last outer tower, of course, is in the mid lane, so that's where we expected them to put it. Turret planings are down though, so they can wait for a little bit before they decide exactly when to place it there. They need a good opening for it. And now that 2 are showing in the top side, it might be a good time.
I see some pings down towards that Drake. And indeed the team is focused towards it.
Chase down in the top side though.
Renewal in, kick back. I need a win, just will take the fight like a man. Loses it exactly the same way. Dragon in the meantime will be picked up as PT. Is that a good trade?
Yes, and if he had turned that fight sooner in the top lane, Syndra would have picked up a kill. I
pulled prediction.
I don't believe this was a shutdown. I could be wrong, but 3-1-0. 132 CS, I don't think that was sufficient enough a lead, considering that Sword barely has a bounty at this point. So it's just one kill over for an objective that they're going to want anyways. They've got their second Drake of the game. They have a Mountain Drake now on their hands. Will help them take down the objectives, and especially come around Baron time, there's going to be so much additional threat they can put down onto HuB Valence.
You are right, and that's an astonishingly low bounty on Burgess Sword. Lawan trying to play things safe here, might be able to get the turn, the bait in, like Binding will connect, Vital Spark does as well, Rev Ray falls in the bottom lane.
Finally, they're able to take down a kill on the man, the myth, the legend, the Rev Ray, and the support Lux is the one to dunk him down.
Yeah, they get a little bit of bounty from that one. Now mid lane, Burgess Sword will fly out, Croaky in trouble, trying just desperately to get underneath tower and is being pulled away. Renewal wants to get out here as well. Burgess Sword doesn't quite have the mobility to chase him down.
The only question in that engage was, does Burgess Sword feel it's worth it to use the ultimate? And eventually, he finally did have to. And now we see a 1v2 in the top lane once again. This time, can you get the kill for it? There's the ultimate. Goodbye.
Oh my god! That is not a 1v2, it is a 2v2, and even if it was a 1v2, I'm not sure who I'd bet on. Specs is a monster. Inokia's discovering this, trying to hide behind this turret, and he cannot.
Now the Rift Herald has been shut down at the top lane, but it's another fight, TJ.
Yeah, Rift Herald's in, a shutdown finally on Burgess Sword. Lawan's able to pick up the backline and the Rift Herald. Not bad at all for HuB Valence, but it may be too little too late. 16-9 in the kill feed, 7,000 gold lead for SPT.
And one thing I'm not sure on is if the charge was able to complete in the mid lane on that tower. If it was, that's great. Otherwise, HuB Valence, fantastic defense, able to stop it mid-charge. Hopefully, it'll show at some point in the near future. But in the meantime, Low Anger is just looking still overstaying.
Oh, finally? Renewal? One hit! He can't do it! Logo just keeps fleeing, dodges the wave, flaps spent, Kuve in, will get the shutdown. Support Lux gets it done again.
Almost dies for it, though. That was one hell of a fancy foot movement there from the mid laner.
I did take a look at that mini-map, and just judging from it, I think they did stop that rush into the tower and mid. Because it's still got a little bit over half HP.
Yeah. Does look like it, so at the very least they did get a little bit out of that, but look at the rest of the state of the game. I mean, this is a almost 7,000 gold lead coming in for SP Thessaloniki. They have perfect towers, 5-0, both of the dragons. This is a really hard lead to surmount for HuB Valence.
But HuB Valence are doing the thing. HuB Valence don't lose games. Even games that they're behind in, they stay in them. They still find these isolated kills. So, like, even though you're absolutely right, SPT are in dominant control of this game, I find it really hard to count Valence out.
And you can't, right? Until SPT have shown that they have clean enough macro that they can't get shut down. HuB Valence are still in this, because what have we seen every single game? The team in the lead has made some questionable macro decisions. They've made some mistakes that the other team has been able to capitalize on, and they lose at least a little bit of their lead. We might see that again, but this time, Inokona's the one stuck out.
Questionable decisions. Inokia, a little bit far forward there, bud.
Just teens.
It's not the place you want to be. That's a danger zone, and he was on the highway to it. Tom Cruise showed up, shut him down. This case played by Rev Ray.
If I were Val Kilmer, I would say, you can take my Baron anytime.
All right, good Top Gun joke. But the problem is, 90% of the audience has never seen Top Gun, so that didn't work. But I appreciate it.
But it worked for us, and that's really what's important here.
You're not wrong. And you know what? You can be my wingman at a time. The dragon will be taken. HuB Valence suffering again. Try and grab this kill up top, and again it's Kuve to flash forward. This time though, doesn't land the light binding, and the second Loger starts to turn, they all go, oh, maybe we shouldn't be in this area. Vex
Oh,
and
goodbye.
Chaos think they have one as well. This gets dangerous. Hextech for the building. Final spark will go wide. Vex gets out. HuB Valence, a 4-man collapse, doesn't quite find what it wants.
So much blown by HuB Valence. They are looking for the plays admirably, but they're not going to be able to find them, and as a result, they just turn onto the Baron. If you look at it, they have two choices. You stop the Baron, you stop the inhibitor take. You need to do both at the same time, but how are you going to do it when the other team is so far ahead? 3,000 left on the Baron, TJ. It's up to HuB Valence to steal it.
But they're in the area, and SPT don't dare just rush the Baron, because this is how you get things stolen out from under you. I think they're just turning on the Baron. That's a full focus on the Baron. They could get this. They didn't ever cancel the take. Kuve's gonna get burnt down. That's an acceptable loss. Half HP on Baron though. 4,000. It's shut down. Burnished Sword grabs Croaky. The desperate last second attempt was not enough. As Burnished Sword is shut down. Luan has to Hextech away. I don't think he can make his way out of this, but he brawls Pikayon for a while. Nobody gets Baron. The team fight dicey either way. Edged out. 4 kills in favor of SPT. And HuB Valence are paying for it. Xenokia's chased through the jungle while their inhibs are in trouble. This could be game. This could be how the grand final ends. Kuve's back on respawn. Oh, Xenokia turns for a kill. That might be enough, as Kuve will stall out. They'll lose inhib, but nothing more.
HuB Valence, a valiant attempt, and at the very least, it did stop the Baron from being taken. But my god, they lost so much for it. As a result, they will finally take down the inhibitor in the mid lane there. RevRay doing his best on this split push Fiora. He's just got the 2 items. Doesn't even have the Trinity Force yet and was able to do all of that. Remember, that Baron fight went really, really well for SB Thessaloniki, all things considered. And one of those things to consider is it was a 4v5.
Yeah. I was so sure, and I actually mistold it. I thought that HuB Valence were quick enough on the Baron that they hadn't let any of the HP reset. If they had been, they get that Baron.
100%.
But they let its HP reset a little bit, and as a result, they only got it down to about half before SPT recommitted. At that point, they'd already lost so much.
It was a very cute idea. And honestly, I appreciate that they're still in the state of mind where they're able to make these decisions. Especially because they do have the better objective take between Kalista and Lee Sin.
Rolling those dice in case you get a nat 20.
Right. You're just hoping.
Yeah.
But this time, they were rolling with disadvantage, and instead of a nat 20, it was like a 7. And they're like, you stop the Baron, but you lose everyone.
Here's a mean game master. This is 7. Yeah, right with it.
But you stop the
Here's the
Baron,
pressure.
and that's a positive.
Yeah, alright. Won't fire him quite yet. He's no Matt Mercer, that's all I'm saying. Pressure.
Fair enough, but this is also not Critical Role. This is City League, TJ.
Oh! Wild! Okay, I've been approaching this entirely wrong. As Lawan approaches his base entirely wrong. Meets RevRay. Tower tries to pull him back in. Can't quite do it. Half HP either way. Meantime, Baron's being taken. Now just down to the 2,000 HP. There aren't more than enough people to steal.
He stole it!
He steals it! HuB Valence get the Baron! An extra kill! Not bad at all!
Okay, I thought this game was over. Apparently, HuB Valence have other plans. Renewal with the play of the series, stealing away the Baron 2-7-5. That doesn't matter. Just replace that scoreline with a 1. Baron stolen.
Did they not smite? Did they not have smite? No, Burnished Sword spent smite. That was just incredible timing.
See that one again. Okay. He just W's in and smites it.
Thank you very much for the leash. That's my Baron now.
This is one of those replays where you need like 0.015 speed to see exactly what happened. It reminds me of this one time in LPL where it was a perfect smite, but the Baron leveled up as the smite was cast. So it ended up with 13 HP and then it got stolen. It feels a bit like that.
HuB Valence, by hook or by crook or by Sonic Wave, I suppose, managed to steal Baron. Now, they're back in this game. For the next 2 minutes, SPT can't take a confident team fight against them. That means they have a moment to stall out, regain gold, but it will not save them. They also need a sick team fight. They also need at least one good Drake. They can't win just off that Baron.
No, and it's going to be a struggle for them to do so because you have the Fiora still pushing in. RevRay has so much damage on his side. He's got the Trinity Force, he's got the Ravenous Hydra, so he can just keep pushing these side waves. Wherever HuB Valence aren't, RevRay will be, and he will be pushing in their lanes and making sure they need to respond to him.
I'm looking at this group over towards the top side of the map. It feels like HuB Valence are just looking for picks at this point, which isn't a bad mentality to be in, but in a minute, everything that has let them get this far will evaporate. SPT will just say, okay, we can take fights again.
Yeah. They'll be able to push again as well. They'll be able to siege again. They'll be able to split however they want to end this game. They'll be able to. It's just these next 55 seconds that matter so much. Someone needs to find an engage. Someone needs to find a pick. HuB Valence need to find their way back into it.
And Renewals keep trying to land those 6 Sonic Waves and can't quite do it. The Baron was his one nat 20 for the game, it looks like.
Unfortunately for him, but this is a 5 versus 4. If they can find this fight here, somehow make the engage happen, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to.
So, no Baron fight, no magical Baron fight. What do you get from that Baron? Stall out. At this point, gold matters a little bit less. HuB Valence do also manage to get that inhib back up because of the time they stalled out. And maybe they regain a little bit of the mental game. That's kind of what you're talking about at this point.
Yeah. As long as they're not thinking GG go next, I think they're in fine shape.
The last game of the City League.
Right. That's why they should never think GG go next.
We'll have to hope they haven't got any misapprehensions about what games they're playing. Little bit of poke coming through up top. 1-1 down bottom, 4-4 up top. LeJuan winning the 1-1, scaring RevRay back. 4-4's going towards SPT as they manage to poke out that tower a little bit.
Well, it's a 1-1 that he was winning the trade in, but you have to remember how much lifesteal is present on this Fiora. With just one wave, she can heal all the way to full.
Oh, LeJuan, final spark through. It does grab the tag. Logan's gone. A nice pickup, a clean pickup for HuB Valence.
This should slow down the tempo for SP Thessaloniki and HuB Valence. They're really pulling it back here with pick after pick. They've been able to stall out the game. First it was the Baron steal. Now it's the pick onto the mid laner, now playing top, notably. But that's Syndra off the map. That's what matters. Now, if SP Thessaloniki want to fight, they're risking a 3 versus 5.
That was the biggest bounty on the map as well. That's not bad at all. Burning Sword will go in. This gets dangerous though, Renewal. I don't think you can get out. Oh, we can! He's able to Sonic Wave away. Croaky will fall though. Burning Sword grabs that, and RevRay chases down Renewal. 2 kills back. The second HuB Valence get their fingers, their toes in the door. SPT slammers.
And now it just doesn't matter. The Syndra's back up on the map. She's got the teleport. The teleport's there for RevRay as well. He's going to push her into the bottom side of the map. And meanwhile, the rest of SP Thessaloniki are going to be looking for these picks. They're going to be looking for the inhibitor. They just need to shove it in and maybe find one more fight to end it.
Baron's coming up. They can just shove here, turn for Baron. It's got to be on their minds, at the very least as an option. 10 seconds on respawns, another turret down, 1 inhib already down, make it 2 as the second inhib pulls, all 3 inhib turrets gone. This might be game. There are respawns in, but HuB just got deleted, making it 4v5 as the final inhibitor falls.
Should be the last stand for HuB Valence, but instead SP Thessaloniki are playing incredibly carefully. They want to back off away from this. I'm not sure I agree with that decision. Just stay, keep pushing in the waves, and wait for one more. You've got 2 super minions in every wave. You don't need the Baron. You don't need another dragon. You can just win.
Counterpoint, but what if they had the dragon? What if they had the Baron? How could they lose that?
That's fair, TJ.
They choose to make extra sure that all the nails are lined up in the coffin they're very carefully building for HuB Valence. They picked out the wood, they cut the tree, they sanded it real nice. Now it's just a question of engraving. and for them will be this Baron.
Baron should make sure the corpse gets delivered to that coffin as well. This will be the last play of the game, very likely, because after this, it should be just the shove down from SP Thessaloniki. Let's see what HuB Valence can do to contest.
Renewal, do it again. He can't, he's scared back. They're all bullied. Final spark! It's not enough! It was so close, but the timing slightly off. Now the pressure comes through. HuB caught out. There's no way to survive that. Inokia tries to flash free, but he's chased down. Specs is waiting right around the corner. There's no way to survive all this. And SPT look to clean up the City League Championship. They look to be the best team in the City League for Season 1. There's no one left to defend. The few that are so far behind. Renewal tries to make this connect happen, and I don't think it will, as Croaky's fully along
They're
to
just
the
gonna
side
go chase the kills,
30
TJ.
kills in 32 minutes. SPT are the champions of Season 1.
SP Thessaloniki, they're showing the dominance there with that last game. So much cleaner than the 2 games that came before it. That was a game that shows you how this team went undefeated during the regular season, how this team got to where they are, how they got into the finals with such little contention from their opponents to this point. Just an absolute masterclass from minute 1 to the final minute of the game. They took it home.
Relief and joy on the SPT side's faces as they clean up the title. Looks like a photo op as well. Take those selfies.
You know, sometimes you just got to take a selfie, TJ. Your emotions, your words can't handle it. But the self-portrait camera of your phone can.
Let's talk about the self-portrait camera that is the stat screen. Oh, never mind. It went away.
It's
I
fine.
respect that, because now we got a selfie that's us. And
Nice.
that's objectively better. I'd like to talk about that last game, though, because it was so much more back and forth than it should have been, and it is on paper. Because statistically, you're right, HuB Valence just got ground down. But the road on that grinding was a rocky road. It had marshmallows and nuts, and there were bounces and squishes. It was mind-blowing.
It's not entirely surprising, though, considering the performance we've seen from this best of 3 from both of these teams. Consistency is not their strongest point, and you see HuB Esports, they're not happy. HuB Valence is not happy with that performance, but honestly, I think they should be. They were able to take this team to a game number 3, something nobody could even take them to a game number 2 before this.
This was the first map that had ever been lost by this SPT side this series. And that has to be at least a consolation prize for the second place team here. HuB Valence played very well all season long, and they deserve to be in these finals. SPT just deserve to win them.
And it was off the back of a really strong performance, TJ. They did great, but the problems, they did have hiccups, you're right. But a lot of them were things that aren't really easy to predict, like a Baron steal. Those happen to the best of us. I mean, and the worst of us, but also the best of us. It was definitely not something you can predict. It's not something you can really adjust for. And then maybe the pick, you can argue, that was a problem. That was where something went wrong. But I think for the rest of it, this was a really solid game 3 that shows a different team than showed up in games 1 and 2.
That will do it for us, though. I think we showed a different casting duo in Game 3 than we did in Game 1, as we evolved, and so did the City League over the course of this entire season. It was a ton of fun to cast with you, Matt, and it was a ton of fun to cast the entire City League season here. This was actually my first League of Legends live show, so it was a ton of fun for me to learn the game and learn how to cast the game over the course of the season. And it was really enjoyable to get to see all these players grow with me. So I hope you guys will come back for potential Season 2 of City League. You can also, of course, check out our Counter-Strike and Rocket League competitions. All that information and more is over at cityleague.gg. It's the website, and City League GG. One word, that's the Twitter account. You can find myself at esportstj Niberia, at Niberia on Twitter. Wow.
Weird.
I was right. I just had to check that. But it was a very fun time casting tonight. Do you have any closing words, Matt?
I'm happy to have been able to come out for the grand finals, and thank you everyone for watching. Thank you City League for letting me come out to this. Thank you TJ for the cast, and we hope to see you next time. Hopefully there's some more City League, League of Legends coming to us.
Hopefully. There is more City League Counter-Strike tomorrow. So if you tune in, same time, 10 PST is the only time I know. But you can check the times over at...
Is it cityleague.gg?
Yes, you're right. You can check the times over at cityleague.gg if you wanted to know exactly what time that Counter-Strike tournament was starting local time. I'll be casting that as well right here on twitch.tv/cityleague. You should tune in. We're entering our playoffs there, and it will be spicy. For now, though, thank you so much for joining us for our League of Legends coverage, and have a great rest of your day.
Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on does perfect even